With one final scream, a 9-vein heaven saint's head flew through the air, and the eerie silence descended again. Countless 10,000 dragon nests hovered in the air, including those brought by the nether dragon race. They were now surrounded, and they didn't even dare to make the slightest movement because Gorant's crossbow was aimed right at them. If they were to cause a single rune to light up, Gorant would shoot them down. On the ground, rivers of blood flowed, and piles of dragon corpses stretched across the battlefield, turning the once majestic dragon domain into a hellish landscape. Even the human emperors felt their souls tremble at the sight. Long Chun waved his hand, gathering all of the dragon corpses. The battlefield instantly appeared less cluttered, but the pungent scent of blood still lingered in the air. At this moment, the dragon-blood warriors sheathed their swords and gathered behind Long Chun, eyeing the ones that were surrounded, their expressions calm as if nothing had happened. This cold detachment sent chills down the spines of the onlookers. In one swift stroke, Long Chun had eliminated the traitors plaguing the dragon domain. What remained were only the small fries who had accompanied the nether dragon race, mere shadows of the force that once stood against them. Overall, Long Chun had accomplished in an instant what the dragon domain had struggled to achieve for so long. Though his bloody methods were frightening, everyone in the dragon domain was now clear on one thing. Long Chun was not here to take control of them. From Long Chun and the dragon blood warriors' eyes, they could see complete apathy. It was the dragon domain's experts who had thought too highly of themselves. Ignoring the terrifying 2-vein Emperor Gold Rhino, the Dragon Blood Legion alone had the power to flatten dragon domain. What stung most was that Long Chun wouldn't even need to lift a finger. The Black Dragon, Red Dragon, and other dragon races' human emperors clenched their teeth in shame. They could accept being forced into submission through overwhelming power, but what they couldn't bear was the quiet contempt. Long Chun and his companions' apathetic gazes meant that he didn't even see them as worth the effort. Those who had come with the nether dragon race looked pale as they stuck their heads out of the 10,000 dragon nests, as if they were convicts waiting for execution. Seeing them, Long Chun coldly said, "Don't worry, I won't kill you, but you don't need to be grateful to me either. I already said that I would only kill those who stood in our way. Since none of you interfered, you can leave at any time." The surviving dragon experts were instantly overjoyed. Many of them had lost all hope and now wept with relief at this unexpected mercy. "We didn't want to betray anyone, but we had no choice," cried out one of the dragon experts. Many were moved by this cry. These experts hadn't chosen to be traitors. They were simply following orders. After all, most disciples had no control over their fates. They simply obeyed their leaders. Don't you have a choice now? Your fates are in your own hands. Don't spout any nonsense about not having a choice. If you had been winning, would you have hesitated to slaughter us? You followed your leaders into betrayal knowing it was wrong. You chose to do wrong because it was easier. If you could tell right from wrong, why didn't you have the courage to stand against it? While surrounding the Dragon Blood Legion, did you even consider the concept of righteousness? You're all hypocrites. Other than the white dragon race, who here even cares about righteousness? What a joke. Now get out of here, before I change my mind, sneered Long Chun. Long Chun's harsh words caused the remaining dragon experts to twitch, including several members of the white dragon race. Although Bai Yingxue had sounded the horn for battle and their leader had supported her, dissenters within the white dragon race still felt that Long Chun's approach was too rash. They completely lost their faces. When did the great dragon race become idiots with no minds of their own? Multiple 10,000 dragon nests slowly left. As the traitors slowly departed in their 10,000 dragon nests, it marked their expulsion from the dragon domain. From now on, they would have no home. Once those traitors left, the other 10,000 dragon nests in the sky slowly pulled back as well. The dragon domain's leaders glanced at each other. They wanted to say something, but didn't know what to say. The atmosphere was extremely awkward. The red dragon race leader looked at the white dragon race leader, and the white dragon race leader instantly understood. He shot a look at Bai Yingxue. Bai Yingxue pretended not to see this, as she felt immense disdain for the dragon domain's experts. The dragon race had changed. After losing their backbone, were they any different from mudfish? The awkward silence stretched, with every second feeling like an eternity. Finally, Long Chun said, "Ingxue, bring me to the dragon's sovereign altar." Bai Ingxue nodded and led the way, with the dragon blood warriors following behind. The other dragon experts opened a path for them, not daring to obstruct their passage. Even though the dragon's sovereign altar was a sacred land, no one dared to stop Long Chun. The dragon blood warriors didn't even look at the various leaders of the dragon races, causing the human emperors to feel extremely embarrassed and indignant, but also profoundly helpless. In the end, they silently followed the dragon blood warriors, wanting to see what Long Chun was planning to do. When the group reached the center of the dragon domain, they arrived at an enormous, ancient altar. Time had worn it down. 3 of the 4 stone pillars had collapsed, leaving only one standing. Yet, despite its dilapidation, it was kept immaculately clean. Someone evidently cleaned it every day, and this made Long Chen's icy expression soften ever so slightly. "So, you haven't entirely forgotten your roots. Perhaps there's hope for you after all," Long Chen said indifferently. His words stung like a slap across the faces of the dragon experts. The burning sensation was unbelievable. After all, the Nether Dragon race had betrayed the dragon race long ago, cast out and hunted in the dragon sovereign's era. For the dragon domain to tolerate their presence was a grievous insult to their heritage. Long Chun walked onto the altar, accompanied by Ingxue. At the center of the altar was a spherical totem, emitting a familiar aura that made Long Chen's heart race. "Senior, I finally found you." The spherical totem was about 30 meters tall, covered in countless dragon runes that resembled both flames and clouds. Although the runes were completely dim and gave off no aura, Long Chun immediately sensed a familiar presence. It was the aura of the mysterious dragon expert who had been helping him all this time. Now, Long Chun was completely certain. The dragon expert who had guided him was none other than the primal chaos dragon sovereign that the dragon race revered. Although Long Chun had always felt that the mysterious senior had a shocking origin, who would have thought he was the symbol of the dragon race's faith? Long Chen's heart pounded hard as he recalled how the dragon sovereign had once used its power to save him, which broke their connection. The Earth Cauldron then explained that the dragon sovereign fell into a slumber after exhausting its energy. Now, standing before the totem that carried its aura, Long Chun wondered if it was possible to awaken the dragon's sovereign from its slumber. Long Chun stood in front of the totem for a long time before extending his hand toward it. His movement startled the dragon experts around him. "Long Chun, don't!" Bai Ingxue shouted, hastily grabbing his hand. "What is it?" asked a baffled Long Chun. "Are you trying to use your dragon blood to call out to the dragon sovereign?" asked Bai Ingxue. Long Chun nodded, and Bai Ingxue gravely said, "This altar has been in disrepair for too many years. We don't even know if it can be used. Furthermore, the amount of blood energy required to activate the totem is unimaginable. Our dragon domain has attempted it 3 times in history, pooling the blood energy of countless experts, and yet we still couldn't light up every rune. Instead, we sacrificed numerous powerful warriors in vain. On your own, there's no way you can activate it. Furthermore, the totem has a powerful suction force that could drain your dragon blood completely in an instant. It doesn't matter. I'll give it a try. If it really isn't working, I'll stop," promised Long Chun. "Even if you can activate the totem, the altar is broken. It won't do you any good. You'll be wasting your energy and risking your life," said the leader of the Red Dragon race. His previous arrogance had vanished, replaced by humility. Ignoring him, Long Chun once again reached for the totem. The dragon experts held their breath as they watched him. "Stop!" The leaders of the various large dragon races shouted in unison, their faces flushed with panic. "What's the meaning of this? Do you think you can stop me?" asked Long Chun, frowning in their direction, his gaze icy. In the distance, an explosive sound rang out, and Gold Rhino's enormous body rose. Gold Rhino emitted such a vast emperor might that even human emperors felt suffocated in front of it. "Long Chun, you misunderstand. There Bai Ingxue stuttered. The atmosphere was rather odd. The white dragon experts had awkward expressions, as if they were unable to side with Long Chen in this matter. Guoran and the others were baffled. What exactly was wrong with these dragons? Finally, Bai Ingxian stepped forward, gritting her teeth. I'm not afraid of you laughing at us. The Dragon Sovereign is our pillar of faith. But rumors say that the Dragon Sovereign, well, you know. Hearing this, Long Chen immediately understood. These dragon leaders feared that the Dragon Sovereign was dead. After their past failures to awaken him, they had convinced themselves that he had long since passed away. However, as long as the altar and totem remained, they could cling to the hope that he was still alive. This fantasy was all that supported them. Thus, while they did wish for Long Chen to awaken the totem, they were equally terrified of the possibility that he would confirm their worst fears. If the Dragon Sovereign were truly gone, they would lose their faith and drive for good. They felt incredibly conflicted. No matter how strong the dragon race, the Dragon Sovereign was their pillar. If this pillar collapsed, they didn't know how they would live. Shaking his head, Long Chen scolded. Your attitudes are disappointing. In this world, everything with form is destined to fade. Only the formless can exist eternally. The most precious thing the Dragon Sovereign passed down isn't his bloodline or divine abilities. It's the dragon race's unyielding spirit. Its iron will to overcome any obstacle no matter how painful they are. If the Dragon Sovereign truly is gone, did any of you ever consider picking up his legacy, taking on his duty, and leading the dragon race to its former glory? All you've done is sit in the shade of a great tree, without ever considering that you might need to become that tree for future generations. You are selfish. You are cowardly. Tell me, are you truly worthy of being called the Emperor of the 10,000 Beasts? From a slap, Long Chen's words turned into a hammer that struck the weakest part of their hearts, stunning the dragon experts. When had the proud dragon race become so cowardly? Even if the Dragon Sovereign were gone, was that the end of them? Could they not forge a new Dragon Sovereign? Did they not even have the courage to pick up the banner of the dragon race? What were they afraid of? Death? No. Was it failure? Probably not. Then what was the cause of these emotions? It was their sense of inferiority. After losing the Dragon Sovereign, the dragon race started to feel inferior. Their so-called pride was only to cover up the sense of inferiority in their hearts. As Long Chen's words tore down their facade, they felt no anger, only shame. They had brought dishonor to their ancestors. Bai Ingxian and the others also lowered their heads. They had finally realized why the dragon race had declined. Over the years, they had lost their spirit. Well, I can tell you with full certainty that the Dragon Sovereign is not dead, said Long Chen. Really? The dragon experts brightened instantly. Some even teared up. This was the best news they had heard in ages. However, if the Dragon Sovereign were to see you in this state, it might cast you out of the dragon race itself, Long Chen added coldly. As long as the Dragon Sovereign is alive, that's all that matters. For unfilial descendants like us to be cast out of the dragon race, we have no right to complain, said the elder of the red dragon race. Long Chen nodded, feeling slightly better towards them. Slowly, he extended his hand again. With a shout, his dragon blood surged, and a blood-red cross appeared in his palm. He pressed it against the totem, ready to awaken the Dragon Sovereign. The sovereign blood seal appeared on Long Chen's palm, and instantly, every dragon expert felt their souls shudder. Even the human emperors couldn't help but quiver. They were all shocked. Up until now, Long Chen hadn't fought, so they didn't know how strong he was. However, considering that he was the leader of the Dragonblood Legion, they were sure that he was an expert amongst experts. To their surprise, the cross on Long Chen's palm actually had a trace of sovereign might. It felt as though their very souls were being crushed, leaving them unable to summon even the faintest will to resist. Now, they fully understood how terrifying Long Chen was. Had he intervened in the last battle, the Nether Dragon race's army would have been obliterated instantly. Reflecting on how they had assumed Long Chun was there to command them now felt utterly laughable. They realized they had overestimated their importance. None of them were worthy to follow someone like him. When Long Chen's hand touched the totem, the latter quivered intensely, and its runes lit up. At the same time, Long Chen's dragon blood started to pour out of him like water out of an open dam. In just a few breaths, the majority of the totem's runes were lit up. However, Long Chen's dragon blood continued pouring out at a terrifying rate. What? All the dragon experts were stunned to see this. According to their historical records, when the dragon domain had gathered the full might of the dragon race, they had only managed to illuminate 90% of the totem's runes. Seeing success right in front of them, countless dragon experts poured in their essence blood until it ran out. Many of them died in the process and still couldn't fully activate the totem. Yet, Long Chun had managed to activate the majority of the runes on his own, leaving the dragon experts in complete disbelief. Perhaps he truly can activate the totem and commune with the dragon sovereign. The voice of the black dragon race's human emperor trembled with excitement. As more and more runes lit up, the totem continued to tremble. Long Chen's dragon blood energy was rapidly depleting and was soon nearing its limit. 80% of the runes were now activated. "Everyone help," said Long Chen. Guoran and the others stepped forward, pouring in their dragon blood energy. With the support of the dragon blood warriors, the totem's runes blazed. However, the efficiency of their dragon blood energy was a far cry from Long Chen's. Even after their combined efforts, only 90% of the runes had lit up. "Everyone!" shouted Bai Yingxue. At this moment, the human emperors of the dragon domain stepped forward, switching out with the dragon blood warriors to pour their own dragon blood into the totem. Gradually, all of the runes finally blazed to life. When the last one lit up, a collective cheer erupted from the crowd. Boom! The totem shook one final time, and the altar blazed with radiant light. The entire dragon domain trembled as dragon might surged through the air. Countless dragon experts knelt in reverence, whispering the name of the primal chaos dragon, sovereign in awe and devotion as they kowtowed in unison. Still pressing his hand against the totem, Long Chun felt a powerful suction force, and in the blink of an eye, he was pulled into a vast starry sea. The starry sea seemed infinite, with Long Chun floating within its expanse. Beneath him, the head of an enormous dragon stretched out, so massive that it could encompass millions of stars. The rest of the dragon's body was lost within the sea of stars, its tail nowhere in sight. Chains as thick as mountains pierced through the dragon's body, binding it to the void. These chains extended into the darkness, anchoring the great beast in place. Seeing this, Long Chun let out a furious roar. The dragon sovereign he revered had been imprisoned in the cosmos, bound by these chains. This endless starry sea was actually a prison. Determined to break the chain, Long Chun gritted his teeth and ran over to the closest chain. It was so vast that Long Chun appeared no larger than an ant in front of it. After mustering all his strength, Long Chun struck the chain with his fist. With an explosive sound, Long Chun was sent flying back. His soul nearly disintegrated, leaving him dazed and disoriented. Still as rash as ever. "When will you finally learn to be more patient and mature?" A familiar voice echoed in Long Chen's mind, sharp yet soft, like a bolt of lightning. Hearing the voice, a wave of emotion washed over Long Chun. His eyes welled up, and he nearly wept. "Senior, is it really you? I've missed you so much." The dragon expert had accompanied Long Chun from the mortal world to the immortal world, guiding his growth and imparting him the dragon race's divine abilities. Although they never formally addressed each other as master and disciple, their bond was undeniably that of teacher and student. The last time the dragon expert saved Long Chun, it had exhausted its energy and fallen into a deep slumber. Seeing the primal chaos dragon sovereign in this state, Long Chun felt like a blade was carving his heart. "Don't be so sappy," said the dragon sovereign, but its voice instantly softened. "Not bad. Your power has grown considerably. But what's even more precious is that you've remained true to yourself, still the same young man from back then. Senior, how did you end up chained here? What can I do to free you? Asked Long Chun, gritting his teeth as he stared at the energy pouring in from the darkness. Foolish child, you are far too weak to help me right now. Besides, how did you even end up in my descendants' territory? According to my previous calculations, this wasn't where you were supposed to be, said the dragon sovereign. I told him to come. The earth cauldron's voice suddenly cut in. How meddlesome, grumbled the dragon sovereign, his tone turning cold once more. I had no choice but to be meddlesome. Long Chen's identity as a 9-star heir has already been exposed. Lord Brahma will soon send his forces after him. Moreover, Evil Moon has started to awaken, and the fluctuations of the heavenly Daos are growing increasingly unstable. It is best to wake you up while the lines of fate are still in chaos. That way, the other side won't notice, explained the Earth Cauldron. The Dragon Sovereign was silent for a long moment before finally speaking. So, that treacherous Brahma has recovered? Not fully, or his avatars would already be roaming the world. However, his followers remain active across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. His avatars will emerge soon, and when they do, Long Chen's crisis will descend. That's why I had to wake you up, replied the Earth Cauldron. If that's the case, we still have some time, said the Dragon Sovereign, its voice grave. Long Chun, bring out Evil Moon. Let me see it. And why should I see you? Who are you? Why do I find both of you so unlikable? Evil Moon's voice rang out, though it did not manifest. You don't recognize me? Asked the dragon expert. How laughable. You act as if I should know you. Are you that famous? Sneered Evil Moon. The dragon expert was silent for a moment before telling Long Chun. Forget it. Ignore this idiot. Let's talk about our matters. You're the fucking idiot. Your whole family are idiots. Evil Moon raged, its body finally appearing on Long Chen's back. The moment Evil Moon manifested, the world shook. The massive chains binding the dragon sovereign quivered, seemingly drawn by some unseen power. The scene shocked Long Chen. There was some mysterious connection between those chains and Evil Moon. Evil Moon also seemed to notice this. Its gaze lingered on the chains as if in deep thought, and it wondered, why does this aura feel so familiar? It appears it truly doesn't remember, remarked the dragon expert. With its personality, it wouldn't fake this. That's why I'm certain it doesn't remember, responded the Earth Cauldron. Hey, what are you two talking about? If you're going to say something, speak clearly or shut your mouths. Don't remember what? What are you hiding? I am Dragonbone Evil Moon, the same one from the Martial Heaven continent. What could I possibly have forgotten? Evil Moon roared. All right, this doesn't concern you. You can go, said the Earth Cauldron calmly. You! Evil Moon fumed. Who the fuck do you think you are? You think you can order me around? You've got a screw loose in your head. In a flash, Evil Moon vanished. Inside this space, only their consciousness could appear, not their true bodies. After Evil Moon left, the dragon expert said, Long Chun, this fellow is an extremely dangerous existence. Do you really believe you can control it? Long Chun was baffled. Long Chun had long since suspected that Evil Moon's origins were extraordinary. Both the Earth Cauldron and the Dragon Sovereign had questioned Evil Moon's memory, hinting that it was from the same era as them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have asked whether it knew them. An existence from the same era as the Earth Cauldron and the Dragon Sovereign? Just what was up with that? Was this Evil Moon really the Evil Moon he was familiar with? However, Long Chun didn't hesitate in his response. Evil Moon is my closest battle companion. I can entrust my life to it. There's no such thing as control between us. We rely on each other. Shut up. Who's close to you? Don't spout such disgusting nonsense. Evil Moon's furious roar echoed once more. You're eavesdropping? Demanded Long Chun. Who's eavesdropping? You're not allowed to say my name. Evil Moon once more roared before its aura fully vanished. Evil Moon had left behind a trace of its energy to secretly listen in, thinking the Earth Cauldron and Dragon Sovereign might badmouth it. But Long Chen's words caught it off guard, and in a fit of embarrassment, it cursed before fully withdrawing. Both the Earth Cauldron and the Dragon Sovereign were surprised. Neither of them had sensed Evilmoon's presence. Luckily, they hadn't said anything incriminating. However, unbeknownst to them, Long Chen's words had altered Evilmoon's future in ways no one could foresee. Once they were sure Evilmoon was gone, the Dragon Sovereign spoke again. Since you trust it, we'll respect your decision. The Earth Cauldron has accepted you as its master, and I've shared the dragon race's divine abilities with you. We've put our faith in you. If you trust Evilmoon, then so shall we. Many thanks, Senior, said Long Chen, bowing. Now that your identity is exposed, the Brahma line will hunt you relentlessly. Be wary of the Day-Night line as well. They are crafty and dangerous. One works in the light, the other in the shadows. Although you are powerful, your 9-star hegemon body art has strayed from its original path. Compared to the 9-star disciples of the Primal Chaos era, your power is only slightly above average among those who've awakened the 8-star battle armor. You need time to refine it, but don't rush. Once you enter the endless desolation, I'll guide you to find my Emperor Blood Reverse Scale. That should buy you some time, said the Dragon Sovereign. Buy me some time? Asked Long Chen. The world's laws have shifted. Energy is unevenly distributed, with over 90% of the Sovereign Emperor Heaven's energy concentrated in the depths of the endless desolation. Only those who dwell there are true experts. Lord Brahma is also in seclusion there, recovering from his wounds. It's a den of dragons and tigers, and you must continue to grow. Your realm must keep up, or when the time comes, you won't be able to subdue my reverse scale. Without it, you won't have the strength to survive. The Dragon Sovereign warned gravely. Long Chen's heart trembled. In all his time with the Dragon Sovereign, he had never heard it speak with such urgency. The dangers of the endless desolation were far beyond his imagination. I'll handle my own affairs. Don't worry, Senior. I won't slack off. But you? Long Chen glanced at the chains, a bitter taste in his mouth. Seeing the mighty Dragon Sovereign in such a state, bound like a prisoner, was heart-wrenching. It was a life worse than death. Don't worry about me. Focus on yourself. Cultivation is a path that must be walked steadily. Don't rush, but don't dally either, advised the Dragon Sovereign. Understood. When I stand at the peak of the 9 heavens, I'll make them pay in blood, vowed Long Chen. Long Chen knew that as he was now, he was powerless to save the Dragon Sovereign. He wasn't even qualified to ask about the chains. Whatever was strong enough to bind the Dragon Sovereign was beyond his comprehension. For the first time, Long Chen felt truly helpless. He swore silently to push his strength to new heights so he could one day free the Dragon Sovereign. Good child, you have always been my pride. Go now. As for my descendants, I have no words for them. The Dragon Sovereign sighed, clearly extremely disappointed in its descendants in the dragon domain. Long Chen nodded, and the world around him faded. When his consciousness returned to his body, he found himself back on the altar. Boom! As Long Chen withdrew his hand from the totem, the entire altar collapsed. Was it a failure? Seeing the totem and the altar collapse, all the dragon race's experts felt their hearts sink. The elders didn't even have the power to stand. If others hadn't come to support them, they would have fallen. All the dragon experts were in dismay. This was an unacceptable reality to them. Everyone, swear on your souls. Swear to the Dragon Sovereign that today's events will not be mentioned to anyone. Long Chen commanded coldly. The dragon experts were startled by Long Chen's words. The red dragon race leader's voice quivered as he asked, "Are you saying?" "Swear," repeated Long Chen coldly. Although Long Chen didn't say it explicitly, they all understood his intention. Swearing by the Dragon Sovereign meant that the Dragon Sovereign was still alive. No one moves. All human emperors and half-step human emperors carry out the blood oath of the Dragon Sovereign. The red dragon race leader commanded. The higher-level experts immediately acted, drawing blood from their foreheads and inscribing runes. As the runes ignited, Their blood oath was complete. They were solemn and filled with reverence. After these experts finished the blood oath, their divine sense spread and locked onto their disciples. As higher-ups, their loyalty was not in question. They would have long since been drawn away by the nether dragon race's pressure if not for that. Once they had finished the oath, they spread their divine sense to lock onto their disciples. Although their own loyalty wasn't in question, they couldn't be sure about all the disciples. To ensure absolute secrecy, they confirmed that every disciple swore the blood oath under their supervision. Seeing this, Longchen nodded. Being cautious was necessary. Although the Dragon Sovereign hadn't specifically requested this, Longchen felt that the fewer people who knew this, the better. The Dragon Sovereign represented a supreme existence among the dragon race. Their conviction had been shaken because they thought the Dragon Sovereign had died. So now that they knew it was still alive, they didn't dare show any disrespect. Once everyone had completed the blood oath, they turned back to Longchen. Their earlier suspicions and wariness toward him had vanished. The fact that Longchen had activated over 80% of the totem's runes showed he had a connection to the Dragon Sovereign. They no longer dared to harbor dissatisfaction over Longchen being human. Instead, they invited him to the White Dragon race's 10,000 dragon nest to discuss matters further. Seeing that their business here was done, the Dragonblood Legion returned to their golden war chariot. They couldn't be bothered with the dragon race's affairs. Longchen then accompanied the human emperors of the dragon race to the White Dragon race's 10,000 dragon nest. Longchen was invited onto the central throne, and he didn't stand on courtesy. He sat right down on it, while all the human emperors respectfully waited for his orders. However, Longchen didn't say anything, causing the atmosphere to grow extremely awkward. Normally, all these race leaders were incredibly arrogant, but they were shaking in front of Longchen, not daring to even breathe loudly. The race leaders looked at each other, not daring to transmit anything to each other. In the end, it was the White Dragon race's leader who thickened his face and stepped forward. "Dean Longchen, the Dragon Sovereign, how is it?" asked the leader of the White Dragon race. At this moment, everyone tensed, holding their breath in anticipation. "Its situation is extremely dire. It is bound by some sinister power," replied Longchen gravely. "What?" The human emperors erupted in fury, their faces twisted in disbelief. How could their revered dragon sovereign be bound? Longchen didn't want to delve too much into the details. He only needed to tell them that the dragon sovereign was in no position to help them. "Can you explain further?" asked the Red Dragon race leader cautiously. "What's the point of explaining? Do you think you're capable of saving the Dragon Sovereign? Just look at what you've done to the Dragon Domain. You couldn't even handle your traitors, and now you think you can rescue the Dragon Sovereign." Longchen snapped, his expression darkening. He practically pointed and cursed at him. The Dragon race human emperors hung their heads in shame. If there were a hole in front of them, they would directly jump into it. After all, it had been Longchen, a human, who dealt with their traitors. What a freaking joke. Seeing their silence, Longchen coldly said, "You need to understand that the dragon race can no longer rely on the glory of the past. The time for basking in the achievements of your ancestors is over. The name of the dragon race can no longer scare people. Do you know how many demon races are rapidly growing? They all feel like when they reach their peak, they can surpass the dragon race and replace you. You thought so highly of yourselves, but you couldn't even deal with the Brahma Pill Valley's infiltration or the internal conflicts of the dragon domain. The Dragon Sovereign didn't even feel the need to pass any words down after seeing your state. The dragon race has become simple fish that everyone wants to consume, but you weren't even aware of it. You fought amongst yourselves like it was a joy. You looked down on me when I came here, full of arrogance. But to be arrogant, you need the qualifications. Do any of you have that?" Longchen originally didn't want to curse them, but he grew increasingly angry as he spoke. Although he wasn't truly a member of the dragon race, he had the dragon race's blood flowing in his veins. He had inherited their divine abilities and the will of the primal chaos dragon sovereign. Seeing the dragon race in such a pitiful state enraged him. The dragon race was supposed to be a holy race, an existence that could look down on the 9 heavens and 10 lands. In the mortal world, they were supreme existences of legends. Having been saved by the dragon sovereign multiple times, Long Chun had started viewing the dragon race as his own family. However, their state was far too disappointing. Those human emperors didn't dare to say a word, simply enduring Long Chen's curses. After all, Long Chen's words represented the dragon sovereign's will. Moreover, thinking about the years they had spent fighting each other, they were too to defend themselves. Long Chun took a deep breath and did his best to suppress his anger. With a slightly calmer tone, he said, "I don't see many experts of the junior generation here. The number of heavenly chosen I saw is pitifully small, and they all seem to be from the white dragon race. What happened to the others?" The red dragon race leader's expression turned grim as he responded, "Dean Long Chun, many of our junior disciples refused to follow orders when they heard that our ancestors were in the depths of the endless desolation. They all ran off. They ran off." Long Chun was baffled for a moment before nodding. "Not bad. Your disciples at least have some courage and backbone." The leaders of the dragon race instantly turned red. They were amazed that Long Chun could deduce the situation from that statement. When Bai Yingxian returned to the dragon domain with the white dragon race, she directly shared the recording Long Chun had left her. Once their disciples learned that their ancestors existed deep within the endless desolation, they immediately prepared to go search for them. However, the higher-ups stopped the youngsters, arguing that the information might be a trap set by Long Chun and Brahma Pill Valley. There were numerous possibilities, they claimed. Hearing this, the top experts of the junior generation had enough of the higher-ups' bullshit and nearly rebelled. Despite knowing the dangers of the endless desolation, they preferred to face death there rather than waste their youth on a sinking ship. At that time, hundreds of thousands of disciples declared that the elders would have to kill them to prevent them from leaving. In the end, the higher-ups had no choice but to concede and let them leave. In truth, Bai Yingxue also wanted to go with them, but she remembered Long Chen's promise to come, so she waited here. As a result, when Long Chen arrived, nearly all of the younger generation, except for the white dragon race's disciples, had left. The younger generation of the dragon race had lost faith in their elders, as Long Chun put it. The junior generation was far greater than these old fellows, daring to abandon their comfortable lives in pursuit of something greater. It was something that required more than just courage. The leaders of the dragon race remained silent in the face of Long Chen's words. It wasn't that they didn't want to respond, but they couldn't. Now, reflecting on their actions, they felt foolish. Perhaps if they had united earlier instead of quarreling, the dragon race would not have fallen so far. "Dean Long Chun, what do you plan to do now? Or do you have any instructions for us?" asked the white dragon race leader, subtly probing for hints regarding the dragon sovereign's will. Had the dragon sovereign left them any instructions? Long Chen shook his head. "No need to probe me. The dragon sovereign is deeply disappointed by your actions. It wanted to say something but ultimately only sighed. You can figure out the rest for yourselves." Hearing this, the leaders all quivered, as if a dagger had pierced their hearts. They had failed the dragon sovereign, and the weight of their guilt crushed them. "Dean Long Chun, if the dragon sovereign didn't leave any instructions, do you have any for us? We'll follow any order, even if it means walking into a sea of fire or grinding our bones to dust," said the red dragon race leader. "Even if you order us to immediately attack the 8 Brahma domains, we will immediately move out. We won't hesitate," declared the black dragon race leader. "We are the sinners of the dragon domain. Please give us a chance to atone for our sins. Even if we die in the process, let us do something for the dragon domain. Otherwise, we'll have no face to see our ancestors in the other world," the other leader pleaded. The dragon sovereign's sigh was a wake-up call for these leaders. Right now, all they wanted was to do something for the dragon domain before they died. They couldn't continue as they had been. Long Chen's heart softened. In truth, these human emperors were all brave warriors. He sighed. "Not bad. You're only foolish, not evil." Hearing Long Chun say that, they said bitterly, "That doesn't sound like praise. I can accept a fool, But I can't accept an evil person. If you can understand your mistakes, then maybe you still have some value, Long Chen replied. The leaders couldn't help but laugh bitterly. However, they felt relief, sensing Long Chen's icy demeanor thawing slightly. Now they realized Long Chen's true status. He could communicate with the Dragon Sovereign and could be considered its personal disciple. Thinking back to how they had refused to follow him, they felt like fools. How long ago did your disciples leave? Asked Long Chen. They've been gone for 5 days, answered the Red Dragon race leader. Just thinking about how their disciples had raised their weapons against them just to be allowed to leave, the dragon race leaders didn't know what to say. They even felt like their disciples had been possessed by a devil ghost for them to act so foolishly. Good. Gather your things. We're going after them, said Long Chen. What do you mean? There's no longer a reason for the dragon domain to exist. Before this, the altar was your hope. Now those disciples are the hope. They are the future of the dragon domain. Do I need to spell it out for you? Long Chen replied. Yes, you're right. The leaders finally understood. With the altar destroyed, their mission was now to ensure the survival and growth of the younger generation. Protecting them was the only way to redeem their sins. After understanding what Long Chen meant, the dragon race leaders immediately gathered their experts, issuing orders to prepare for departure. The dragon domain erupted in uproar. Many of its inhabitants had lived there for generations and were reluctant to leave. However, even if they were unwilling, they had to follow their race leaders' orders. Fortunately, the dragon domain was home to numerous 10,000 dragon nests, making the mass migration feasible. After a day of preparation, the dragon race's experts stood atop their 10,000 dragon nests, gazing out at their familiar homeland. Knowing they were leaving and might never return brought tears to their eyes. Even the race leaders couldn't help but feel emotional. As they stood there, Long Chen calmly said, Remember the warriors who bravely entered the endless desolation, knowing they had little chance of survival. What kind of emotions did they feel when they left? His words stirred the hearts of the dragon race, and they gave the order to move out. The gold rhino pulled Long Chen's war chariot forward, leading the dragon race's migration into the endless desolation. Countless 10,000 dragon nests followed behind, and the dragon race began their exodus. Within the chariot, Long Chen stared up ahead, feeling his blood starting to boil. Endless desolation. I'm coming. Gold Rhino pulled the war chariot forward, accompanied by countless 10,000 dragon nests trailing behind. Their pace was steady, giving the people of the dragon domain enough time to bid farewell to their homeland. Although leaving was sorrowful, it was a necessary step for the dragon race to secure its future. They left first. Long Chen asked in surprise after hearing from Bai Yingxue that Feng Yu and Hu Xiaoyu had departed the dragon domain after only a few days of rest. Bai Yingxue explained, Feng Yu said that you can pull her up once or twice, but not forever. If she wants to get stronger, she has to rely on herself. She wants to become an expert like you, someone capable of betting everything to achieve power. She's willing to gamble her life in the endless desolation for the future of the mixed beast race. She wants to create a peaceful foundation for them. If she fails, her body and Tao will vanish, and she won't have any regrets. She asked me to tell you she's sorry that she can't repay her debt to you in this lifetime, but she will always remember you. Bai Yingshua's eyes became teary as she relayed Feng Yu's farewell. She deeply understood Feng Yu's determination and respected her for fighting her tough fate. Like Feng Yu, the entire mixed beast race faced rejection by the world. As a result, Feng Yu wanted to get stronger on her own, not wanting to live her life under Long Chen's protection forever. Leaving her race's fate in his hands would be unfair. After all, Long Chen had no obligation to shield the mixed beast race, and Feng Yu did not want to be a burden. Thus, she chose to face the dangers of the endless desolation despite the risks. Long Chen fell into a long silence after hearing Feng Yu's decision. In the end, he let out a deep sigh. Changing one's fate was never easy, even for someone as strong as him. He was always facing the turbulent waves of fate and understood her helplessness. He felt aggrieved for this strong-willed beauty, but he had no time to help her now. "We can only wish for her good fortune," sighed Long Chun. "I completely understand her. I felt similarly," Bai Yingxue added, gazing at Long Chun. "Fortunately, you and the dragon race have a deep connection, and our fates are intertwined. Otherwise, I might have left like her. I'm afraid my dependence on you would grow to a frightening point." Bai Yingxue had only encountered Long Chun twice before, but she was drawn to his irresistible charisma. It made her want to get close to him, depend on him, and fully trust him. On the other hand, Feng Yu didn't want to drag Long Chun down, so she chose to face her trials alone. If their positions were switched, Bai Yingxue didn't know if she would have such courage. Before Feng Yu left, Bai Yingxue secretly gave her the heavenly dragon treasure jade, a priceless legacy of the white dragon race. It was a protective divine item containing heaven dragon treasure chi, and she had not informed anyone else about it. However, she told Long Chun because she didn't want him to worry about Feng Yu too much. Hearing that Bai Yingxue actually gave this priceless treasure to Feng Yu, Long Chun was moved. Bai Yingxue was truly too kind. Once the chariot left the dragon domain, Long Chun ordered Gold Rhino to quicken the pace. With a roar, Gold Rhino's two-vein Emperor Chi erupted, and it shot forward like a golden bolt of lightning. All the 10,000 dragon nests accelerated with it, advancing ferociously. Half a day later, the aura of the world changed. An ancient and primordial chi was brimming in this place, shaking Long Chen's mind. Everyone within the chariot sensed it as well. Yu Zifeng, who had been meditating, opened his eyes sharply, sensing the shift in spiritual chi and the laws of the heavenly das. "The laws of this place," muttered Yu Zifeng. His keen sword cultivator senses had immediately detected the change in the environment. Just now, it felt like they were passing through a wall. There was a shift in the quality of the spiritual chi, and the laws of the heavenly Daos were also different here. As they crossed the boundary into the endless desolation, the dragon blood in the dragon blood warriors grew more active. Long Chun said, "No wonder they say all the peak experts are hidden within the depths of the endless desolation. Only this kind of terrifying spiritual chi and laws can raise such powerful existences." They had only reached the boundary, but Long Chun could already feel his spirit blood, spirit root, and spirit bone awakening under the summons of some power. Meanwhile, his violet blood, his dragon blood, and his seven-color supreme blood started to circulate rapidly. Even his meridians and bones began to undergo a startling transformation. This was only the border of the endless desolation, yet its impact was profound. Long Chun now understood why Lord Brahma chose to heal in this place. The Earth Cauldron warned, "Now that you've entered the endless desolation, you are close to Lord Brahma's gaze. Be careful. Careful, my ass. With me here, we'll kill them all. Charge forward, Long Chun. I want to unseal my second state and dominate these lands. Lord Brahma. Humph. He'll only be fit to kneel beneath my feet." Evil Moon boomed with confidence. Suddenly, a powerful roar shook the surroundings, and a wild divine might cause them all to tense up. Boom! The ground erupted, revealing a massive salamander engulfed in flames blocking their path. The creature's flames twisted the very space around it. The raging flame-horned salamander. Isn't it supposed to be a low-rank devil beast? How did it get so big? Guoran exclaimed. Normally capped at the Immortal King realm, this salamander had reached the two-vein human emperor level, stunning everyone. Wait! It's missing a leg! Xia Qin suddenly pointed out. One of the salamander's rear legs was gone, with a seven-color scar marking the spot. That's... Long Chen's eyes widened in shock as he recognized the scar. Flames burst from the salamander's body as bone spikes protruded from its spine, releasing a violent aura. It stood ready to fight against Gold Rhino, clearly recognizing it as the greatest threat. Long Chun, meanwhile, was left in shock when he saw the salamander's missing rear leg. The wound, although old, was now bleeding again due to the salamander's overexertion. A seven-colored divine radiance emitted from the wound, and Long Chun instantly recognized it to be something left behind by the power of seven-color supreme blood. Dad! Long Chen's heart shook. Although the aura had faded to the point of being nearly undetectable, Long Chen knew it belonged to his father, Long Zhantian. He hadn't expected his father to have passed through this part of the endless desolation, let alone to have fought this two-vein emperor salamander and severed one of its legs. Dad really is strong, Long Chen thought, amazed. Among all the experts he had encountered, only his father seemed capable of standing on equal footing with the sovereigns from the Martial Heaven continent. Reflecting on the battle at the pathway to the ninth heaven, where his father had only revealed a fraction of his power to wound a heaven saint, Long Chen realized that Long Zhantian must have been hiding his true strength for some time. The power required to sever the salamander's leg wasn't something that could have developed in the brief time since that battle. What an acting skill. Dad really acted like a pig to eat tigers. Looking at the bleeding wound, Long Chen felt immense reverence for his father. His father had endured for so many years and was now soaring into the heavens. Nothing in this world could stop his light. He must have hidden his power when he went to the Long clan. Perhaps if the Long clan had really fought against him, he would have destroyed the entire Long clan with a wave of his hand. As the 10,000 dragon nests gathered, the raging flame horned salamander grew increasingly nervous. It repeatedly roared, looking like it might attack them at any moment. "Boss, should we deal with it?" asked Guoran and the others, looking at Long Chen with anticipation. "Let the 10,000 dragon nests encircle it. Dragon Blood Legion, attack!" commanded Long Chen. If this many 10,000 dragon nests attacked at once, the salamander would instantly be obliterated. Kill! The Dragon Blood warriors needed no further prompting. Gu Yong was the first to strike, hurling his spear at the salamander with all his might. The salamander completely ignored Gu Tang and simply let its flame horn withstand his attack. In its eyes, the only existence here that could threaten its life was Gold Rhino. Unfortunately, the salamander didn't know that Gu Yong was holding a new spear covered in black marks, a newly forged divine weapon from Guoran. Because Gu Yong had no other suitable weapon, Guoran temporarily gave him this rough draft. Though still an unfinished product, due to it having the essence of the Purgatory Fiend spears merged into it, its weight and power were shocking. Boom! The salamander was caught off guard by Gu Yang's immense power. Its massive body was sent tumbling across the ground, leaving deep fissures in the earth as it rolled. The impact of Gu Yang's attack shocked the human emperors of the dragon race. They had seen him fight before, but never with such an overwhelming power. Was he hiding his power before? In truth, Gu Yang simply didn't have a decent weapon back then. As a power-type fighter, without a strong weapon, he couldn't effectively unleash his full power. Against a two-vein emperor devil beast, and with Long Chen personally presiding over this battle, Gu Yang naturally didn't hold back and unleashed all his power in this attack. However, Gu Yang paid the price for his bold attack. His hand bled from the recoil, and he nearly spat blood. The raging flame-horned salamander was incredibly tough, even in its weakened state. At this moment, Bai Shishir, Bai Shaola, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Guoran, and the others joined the fray. A two-vein human emperor's aura instinctively drew out the fear in their hearts. As expected, they had to face this kind of fear head-on. This kind of opportunity couldn't be passed. After a bit, the Dragon Blood warriors also joined in. Yu Zifeng and Xia Chun, however, refrained from participating. Yu Zifeng didn't need this kind of training, and Xia Chun was conserving his stock of talismans for future battles. The salamander tried to retaliate but was continuously pushed back by the relentless assault of the Dragon Blood Legion. After a bit, it opened its mouth, and a massive flame sphere started to form, a sign that it was about to unleash its innate divine ability. Just as Long Chen prepared to intervene, something unexpected happened. Space quivered, and the salamander spun in the air, its head now facing the ground. Instead of being aimed at the Dragon Blood Legion, the flame sphere blasted into the earth. Boom! The salamander was sent tumbling through the air by its own attack, leaving Long Chen and the others stunned by the bizarre turn of events. "Shaola, great job!" shouted Guoran, realizing it was by Shaola's spatial manipulation that had caused the salamander's misfire. The little fox on by Xiaola's shoulder puffed up with pride, exclaiming, "What about me? Without my help, he couldn't have done it." "Of course. Little Nine, you did even better." Guoran laughed. Xiaola was already super childish, but it seemed that Little Nine could surpass him in this regard. Gu Yong and the others continued their relentless assault, but they carefully avoided hitting the salamander's vital points. This was a rare opportunity for training, and they intended to make the most of it. After hours of intense combat, the salamander's strength finally waned. Its wounded leg kept bleeding, and it grew weaker with each passing moment. As it collapsed in exhaustion, the Dragonblood warriors withdrew, allowing Bai Yingxue and the rest of the juniors of the dragon race to gain some experience. Without Long Chun, they wouldn't have a chance to train against a devil beast on this level. At first, they were almost suffocated by the pressure of a two-vein human emperor, but with the Dragonblood warriors guiding them, they gradually got accustomed to it. Half a day later, the salamander was completely exhausted and collapsed on the ground. At this point, Long Chun stepped forward, unsheathing Evil Moon. With a swift motion, he plunged the blade into the salamander's head. "Soul Search," Long Chun whispered, forming a seal with one hand as he prepared to extract the beast's memories with his spiritual strength. Long Chen's spiritual strength scanned the spiritual fragments of the dying salamander. Originally, the raging flame horn salamander was an existence that should have peaked at the Immortal King realm. However, due to a special opportunity, it mutated and advanced to this realm. Still, its intelligence remained low. Its memories were disjointed and chaotic, and Long Chun could only gather fragments that had left a deep impact on the creature. One memory stood out: the salamander devouring a strange fruit. Long Chun deduced that this fruit was likely the catalyst for its mutation. Another fragment revealed a 7-color sword slicing through the air, severing the salamander's leg. Flames erupted around the creature as it tore through space to escape. Through the chaos, Long Chun caught a vague glimpse of his father's figure. It seemed that the salamander had used its innate divine ability to flee after being gravely injured. However, it was clear that the loss of its leg had left its core too damaged for it to fully recover or use the ability again. Although the figure was blurry, Long Chun was sure that it was Long Zhantian. Learning that his father was so powerful made Long Chun feel a sense of relief. Long Chun sifted through more scenes. One particularly clear memory showed a group of dragon race disciples being hunted by the salamander. It must have happened recently, as the images were vivid. The disciples, suppressed by the salamander's emperor might, were forced to make a desperate stand. Fortunately, the injury inflicted by Long Zhantian's 7-color supreme blood flared at that moment, causing the salamander's body to convulse. Seeing this, the dragon disciples seized the opportunity to flee. When Long Chun shared these images with everyone, the dragon race's experts were frightened. The children of their race had come terrifyingly close to death. Their lack of combat experience and survival instincts was glaringly evident. If they continued recklessly, they were bound to meet disaster in the endless desolation. "Move out!" shouted Long Chun as he tossed the salamander's corpse into the primal chaos space. Through its memories, he found which direction the dragon race disciples had run off to. While the dragon race's experts had bloodline senses that could track down their junior disciples, they found that this ability had weakened in the endless desolation. If they hadn't run into the salamander, they might not have even sensed their disciples. The moment the dragon race disciples entered the endless desolation, they encountered the two-vein emperor salamander. Many were seriously injured, so the elders couldn't help but worry for them. The endless desolation was filled with dangers, especially the depths. These disciples might be wiped out at any moment. Thinking of that, they all felt a chill. As they rushed through this land and Long Chun directed Gold Rhino, a Dragonblood warrior suddenly stood up and shouted, "Boss, we're a bit off. Turn left a bit." "You can sense them?" asked Long Chun. "I inherited a dragon soul with a special vision. I can't sense them, but I can see the path they walked. I can see the fluctuations of them having passed through here," said that Dragonblood warrior. Long Chun was delighted to hear that and had this warrior direct Gold Rhino. In less than 6 hours, They heard roars coming from up ahead. "That's the sound of my children," shouted the Red Dragon race leader. Gold Rhino directly charged over at full speed, dragging the war chariot whistling along. This powerful pressure erupted. Once Gold Rhino unleashed its aura, several large figures in the distance immediately fled, terrified of it. When the Dragon Race's disciples felt this aura, they were scared shitless. An even more terrifying demonic beast has appeared. Heavens, is this the day we die? How did it end up like this? We still haven't found our ancestors. Brothers, don't give up. We came here ready to die if we must. Fight to the death. Gold Rhino stopped in front of them, its terrifying aura shaking them to the core. Just like that, their newly ignited fighting spirits were extinguished. Even though they had faced the raging flame horned salamander, Gold Rhino's aura was on a different level. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to scare off those demonic beasts. When these disciples saw the golden war chariot and then the 10,000 dragon nests, their eyes reddened. They didn't recognize the chariot, but they did recognize the familiar auras within the nests. The leaders of the dragon race rushed forward. Upon seeing their disciples, they nearly collapsed in relief. The disciples, who had been certain of their doom, now knelt on the ground, ashamed of their recklessness. A disciple of the Red Dragon race said, "It was my foolishness that implicated everyone. Race leader, please punish me." Although what they had faced just now were only one-vein emperors, being surrounded by 4 of them at once resulted in them losing thousands of their disciples. This disciple from the Red Dragon race was Long Wuyong, the strongest member of the junior generation in the entire dragon domain. It was his fiery passion that had led the disciples into the endless desolation in search of their ancestors, despite falling out with their elders. However, their first encounter with danger, a battle against the raging flame-horn salamander, had nearly cost them their lives. Just as they thought they were done for, the salamander's old injury flared, and they managed to escape. After fleeing, they found a place to recuperate from that fight, not realizing that it happened to be the dwellings of 4 demonic beasts. They were truly unlucky. Long Wuyong had been very confident in their chances, but in front of these terrifying demonic beasts, he couldn't even protect himself. He could only watch as his fellow disciples died. Seeing his race leader, he lowered his head in shame as he felt deep regret. He thought that the race leaders had chased after them because they were weak. The race leaders were equally stricken with guilt. Although these young disciples had been naive, they had shown courage and passion, qualities their elders had lost over years of cautious living. "Good child, rise. We were the ones who let you down. Forgive us!" exclaimed the Red Dragon race leader as he lifted up Long Wuyong. The other leaders did the same for their disciples, their hearts aching at the sight of their dead brethren. Why did they not have the courage to go with their disciples? They had failed their descendants and ancestors. Race leader. The disciples were surprised and moved. Just as they thought they would be severely punished, their elders actually comforted them. "Dragonblood Legion, split up and bring me the corpses of those 4 demonic beasts." Long Chen's calm, yet commanding voice rang out, leaving no room for hesitation. "What?" Hearing Long Chen's voice, the Dragon Race disciples were left confused. They watched as the Dragonblood Legion split into 4 groups, rushing off to pursue the demonic beasts. Bai Shishir, Bai Shaola, Goran, and Xiachan split up with the 4 corps led by the captains. Though they knew they wouldn't be needed, it would be beneficial to observe the action. After all, they were very curious about these beasts in the endless desolation. Long Wuyong and the others watched in disbelief as a group of people with cultivation bases comparable to theirs went after the demonic beasts that had nearly wiped out their army of hundreds of thousands of elites. Their expressions were, understandably, incredulous. If the Dragonblood warriors had the protection of 10,000 dragon nests, then they could accept it. But how could 7,000 warriors without such a support dare hunt down beasts that had nearly annihilated them? In reality, what they didn't know was that, if it weren't for Long Chun wanting to give his Dragonblood warriors a chance to train, only 4 individuals would have been required to complete the task. "Wuyong, let me introduce you. This is Dean Longchun, the one who saved your life. Without him, we wouldn't be able to save you all, and the dragon domain would be doomed," said the red dragon race leader. When Long Wuyong heard that it was Longchun who had saved them, his expression soured. Longchun's name was not unfamiliar to him. When Bai Yingxue returned to the dragon domain, this name became common knowledge. Back then, everyone in the dragon domain had developed a certain disdain for the name, as the Nether Dragon race and their traitorous factions had spread rumors about Longchun intending to take control of the dragon domain. Considering the pride of the dragon race, how could they accept a human leading them? Now, seeing how the race leaders acted deferentially towards Longchun, Long Wuyong and the others felt a twinge of bitterness. The rumors seemed to have come true. Still, Long Wuyong wasn't so small-minded as to mistreat his savior. He stepped forward and knelt toward Longchun. "Many thanks for saving my life, Dean Longchun." His action shocked all the members of the dragon domain. They knew Long Wuyong to be famously obstinate. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had the guts to go against the higher-ups. "You don't need to thank me. I have a bit of a relationship with the dragon race, so it was simply my duty," answered Longchun. He waved his hand, and a violet chi swirled around, lifting Long Wuyong up. Long Wuyong, however, resisted the lift and clenched his teeth. "I, Long Wuyong, will not owe a debt to anyone." Long Wuyong's manifestation burst into existence, and he sank to the ground. The elders of the dragon race jumped in fright. Just as they were thinking that this child had gotten control over his temper, they realized they had been overthinking it. Long Wuyong's kneeling was not submission. It was simply his way of expressing thanks. It seemed he intended to settle his debt this way and leave. The elders were shocked and angry, with the red dragon race leader being particularly furious. "Repaying a favor to me isn't so easy," Longchun snorted. Boom! With a muffled sound, the earth exploded, and Long Wuyong was forced up by the violet chi. "Wuyong!" the red dragon race leader shouted, prepared to intervene with harsh discipline, but Longchun stopped him. Longchun firmly declared, "Let me make two things clear. First, I have no desire to command the dragon domain, nor do I wish to take you as a subordinate. Frankly, you aren't qualified to follow me. Any warrior in the Dragonblood Legion could crush you with one hand." "You!" Long Wuyong and the others were furious, but before they could respond, Longchun raised a finger, silencing them. "Second, as the leader of the junior generation, you led people who trusted you into danger based solely on passion. That shows a lack of wisdom. To enter a danger zone without being able to protect them reveals a lack of capability. For the sake of your own pride, you left the dragon domain, showing callousness. And when you failed midway, abandoning those who trusted you, you displayed disloyalty." "I..." Long Wuyong stammered, his anger rising but unable to find the words to retort. His original plan had indeed been to leave right after expressing his thanks. He refused to follow a human like Longchun. "You lack wisdom, capability, loyalty, and you're callous. Yet, despite all this, there were people willing to follow you and even lay down their lives because of your decisions. And now you think you can just walk away? Will you spend the rest of your life as a coward? How did the dragon race produce trash like you? If you want to leave, then go. I don't need your thanks. I just wonder, how will you live with the title of coward on your back?" Longchun's voice was cold. I. Long Wuyong stuttered, looking at Longchun and then at the dragon corpses on the ground. Overcome with emotion, he suddenly collapsed, wailing. No matter how strong Long Wuyong was, his life experience was limited. The fear of death and the realization of his failures hit him harder than any physical blow could do. Long Wuyong had left the dragon domain full of confidence, but reality was harsh. Only now did he understand how unprepared he truly was. Accepting this truth was painful. The other disciples of the dragon race also gritted their teeth, hating themselves for being useless. Thinking of the grand words they had spat out when they left the dragon domain, they were completely embarrassed. Longchun gave a look at the human emperors of the dragon domain, but they could not grasp the meaning behind it. At this moment, the white dragon race leader stepped forward and lifted Long Wuyong, saying, "Child, it's our fault. We didn't raise you properly. Your failure is actually our failure, and the failure of the entire dragon domain. But don't worry, no matter how difficult the future may be, we'll face it together. Even if we make mistakes, we'll make them together. Even in death, we'll face it together. That's right. No matter what dangers lie ahead, we'll face them as one," echoed the other race leaders as they stepped forward, lifting up their disciples. These words moved the disciples deeply, causing many to weep openly. They apologized to their elders, and the elders gently reassured them. For the first time, the dragon race felt a unity that had been long missing. Just as everyone was lost in the emotion of the moment, four enormous beasts crashed to the ground. The dragon race disciples looked up and nearly had their eyes pop out in shock. The demonic beasts that had attacked them moments before now lay lifeless on the ground. Time had passed so quickly that the dragon race disciples could hardly believe it. In less than an hour, the four terrifying demonic beasts lay dead in front of them. If the disciples didn't recognize these creatures, they would have suspected the Dragonblood Legion of swapping out random corpses to deceive them. What shocked them even more was that each of these fearsome beasts only bore one fatal wound. They were killed with one blow. To maximize their gains, the Dragonblood warriors forced the beasts to use up all their strongest divine abilities, exhausting them before landing the final blows. The strikes were clean to preserve the corpses, crystal cores, and nadens. They were like professional hunters. When these four bodies were presented, the so-called heavenly geniuses of the dragon race were utterly stunned. Only after showing them the corpses did Long Chun put them away. As expected, this display of strength caused the previously stubborn and arrogant youths to quickly fall in line. Seeing these once rebellious and fearless youths become obedient, the dragon domain's elders exchanged glances, sighing inwardly. The reason they had failed to reign in these youngsters wasn't a lack of respect or love. It was simply a matter of power. To command respect and authority, strength was essential. Without it, everything else was nonsense. If Long Chun weren't as powerful as he was, he would never have been able to control a group as formidable as the Dragonblood warriors. Now, the Dragon Domain's people finally understood the true terror of the Dragonblood Legion. They were flawless, not just in strength, but also in resourcefulness, combat experience, and teamwork. Even the human emperors felt uneasy at the thought of facing them in a one-on-one battle. Though the human emperors surpassed the Dragonblood warriors in raw power, if it came down to a fight to the death, the outcome might not favor them. The calm and fearlessness displayed by the Dragonblood warriors, even in the face of terrifying experts, was particularly frightening. "Dean Long Chun, what should we do next?" asked the white dragon race leader. "Wuyong and the others are injured and weary. You can rest here for a bit," answered Long Chun. "Just us? Dean Long Chun, are you planning to leave?" The dragon domain's experts jumped in shock. At some point, Long Chun had become the mental pillar of the dragon domain, and without him they immediately grew anxious. "The ones with heavy injuries should stay and recuperate. Anyone who wants to exercise can come with us. We're going to hunt the demonic beasts in the area," said Long Chun. Hearing that they were going hunting, Long Wuyong and the others instantly became revitalized. "Our injuries are nothing. We can participate," they exclaimed. Their weariness was gone, replaced by a mix of admiration and awe for Long Chen's power. Immense power always commanded respect, and in this case a trace of worship. The 10,000 dragon nests landed on the ground in a particular formation. This hunt could be considered a rehearsal. After all, they couldn't just charge into the depths of the endless desolation in one go. Preparations were needed for a long journey and battles ahead. As they attempted to form a coordinated battle array, their inexperience became evident, and their first attempt was downright embarrassing. The various dragon races couldn't work together smoothly, and their formation was riddled with gaps that would be easily exploited by their enemies. Long Chun watched their messy movements patiently, while the various race leaders broke into a sweat from anxiety. It took them half a day to form a somewhat functional formation. Though rough, it was usable, but only after a full day of practice. The dragon race leaders were all too embarrassed to even lift their heads. They had no right to criticize their disciples when they couldn't form a proper array themselves. The way Long Chun silently observed them only drove them insane. Once the formation was complete, Guoran and Xiachun stepped forward. After a quick discussion, they made several adjustments and improvements. It became clear that professionals operated on an entirely different level. With their modifications, the formation turned into a solid fortress with no discernible flaws. After that, Long Chun stayed here, while Gold Rhino charged out with the chariot, bringing the Dragonblood Legion and the Dragon Domain's disciples with it. The Dragon Domain's leaders watched their disciples depart, their hearts heavy with mixed emotions. In truth, they wanted to go with them, but this hunt was for the younger generation. They couldn't bring themselves to ask Long Chun for permission to join in. Long Chun wasn't worried about them. The Dragonblood Legion was quite strong, and was accompanied by supreme experts like Yu Zifeng and Gold Rhino. Moreover, they were still at the border of the Endless Desolation, so their safety was ensured. At this moment, Long Chun noticed something peculiar about the heavenly Daos in the Endless Desolation. The cultivation environment here was different, causing them to advance rapidly. In other words, cultivating here was twice as effective with half the effort. Considering that everyone else's cultivation speeds were faster than him already, Long Chun had to work hard, or he'd be left in the dust. "Don't grumble about me not letting you join them. I have something better for you," Long Chun said with a smirk. He gathered the human emperors. They were startled but thrilled, knowing that if Long Chun promised something good, it was bound to be significant. "I have a pill formula that can stimulate the essence of your reverse scales. Consuming them will allow you to become Two-Vein Emperor." "What?" Everyone was patiently sitting at first, but the moment Long Chun said this, they shot to their feet, their disbelief written on their faces. Many of them were trembling with emotion. "Don't get too excited," Long Chun cautioned. "This pill taps into the potential within your blood and bones. There's a 90% chance you can break through your current limits and form two emperor veins. But there's a flaw. Once you advance, it's very likely that you'll be stuck at the Two-Vein Emperor realm, unable to progress any further. We've been stuck at our current level for countless years, so we'd given up hope of ever becoming Two-Vein Emperors. If you can help us achieve that, we... The human emperors were overwhelmed with emotion, struggling to express their gratitude. "Then come. Give me the essence blood of your reverse scales. I will refine your pills now." With that, Long Chun took out the earth cauldron, and the air was thick with excitement as the human emperors prepared for what could be the most significant moment in their lives. Boom! The earth cauldron quivered. Under the gaze of the dragon experts, a blood-colored pill with a few twinkling golden marks shot out of it. When the pill appeared, a powerful emperor might radiated from it, shaking all their hearts. The pill exuded the aura of a Two-Vein Emperor. That's... The Red Dragon race leader had just watched his own essence blood merging with over 300 medicinal ingredients and turning into a pill. He was unable to speak for a long time. The pill carried the same bloodline fluctuations as him, but its aura was countless times more immense. "You can eat it and go into seclusion," Long Chun instructed as he handed the emperor-breaking pill to the Red Dragon race leader. Reverently, the leader accepted the pill and bowed deeply before leaving. Witnessing this, the rest of the dragon race experts felt their hearts blaze with excitement. They no longer doubted what Long Chun had said. In truth, they had already placed great trust in Long Chun. However, they couldn't believe that such a miraculous pill truly existed. Now, seeing it with their own eyes, they were convinced. The second human emperor stepped forward. After he had extracted his essence blood, Long Chun refined another pill. "Senior, are you sure the Dragon Sovereign will not be displeased with our actions?" Long Chun asked the Earth Cauldron. "You still don't get it? Although the Dragon Sovereign is deeply disappointed in its descendants, they are still its descendants. They haven't done anything unforgivable. Given its pride, it won't directly tell you to help them, but you should take the initiative," responded the Earth Cauldron. Long Chen instantly understood. He had been slow in realizing this. He had thought that the dragon sovereign had abandoned its descendants in disappointment. Thinking about it, he realized that this anger was only temporary. How could the dragon sovereign really not care about its descendants? It was the Earth Cauldron who had brought up the emperor-breaking pill. At first, Long Chen had thought that the Earth Cauldron wanted him to refine the pills for himself, but he now understood it was primarily for the benefit of the dragon race. With the Earth Cauldron's reminder, Long Chen decided to pay some special attention to the Dragon Domain's disciples. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to pay back the Dragon Sovereign for all of its care. Just as he was lamenting not having an opportunity to return the favor, one had presented itself. One emperor-breaking pill after another was refined. The Earth Cauldron had no difficulty creating them, and Long Chen's spiritual strength and dragon blood energy had strengthened significantly after advancing to the Eternal Realm. He only needed to infuse a trace of sovereign blood energy into each pill. It hardly took any effort on his part. In just a single day, hundreds of emperor-breaking pills were completed. The Dragon Domain's foundation was truly strong. Even some of the oldest human emperors, who had long been sealed away due to their dwindling life force, came out. These elders had exhausted their longevity and had only survived by sealing themselves as a last resort for their races, ready to make one final stand when needed. At first, they were incredulous when told they could break through to the Two-Vein Emperor realm. Some of these elders even tried to strike those who had awakened them, thinking it was a cruel joke. But when they saw the Emperor breaking pills, they too were filled with excitement and immediately went into seclusion to cultivate. By this time, the Dragonblood Legion had returned from their first hunt. They had brought back a black scale fiend drake with a particularly terrifying aura. Even in death, it was emitting such a suffocating presence. "You went out with them for revenge?" Long Chen asked Gold Rhino. "No, we just happened to run into it while it was fighting a blood eagle. It's even stronger now. Without everyone's help, I wouldn't have been able to defeat it," said Gold Rhino. Gold Rhino had unexpectedly encountered its mortal foe during the hunt. The fiend drake had clearly grown stronger while recuperating, likely approaching the threshold of a three-vein emperor. As Long Chen was examining the corpses, he furrowed his brows. All these demonic beasts have traces of medicinal energy in their bodies, and the black scale fiend drake has the most. It must have consumed quite a few medicinal pills made by the Brahma Pill Valley. Their influence has reached the endless desolation. Oddly, it seems they've only started recently. Otherwise, they would have already taken control of these beasts. Guoran pondered. That's strange. If they had such a method, why not control a few more emperor-level demonic beasts? They could have used these beasts during the attack on the academy. If they had brought them along, we wouldn't have been able to beat them. Long Chen sank into thought and rubbed the black scale fiend drake's blood. After studying the remnants of medicinal pills in its body, he suddenly sneered. The Brahma Pill Valley doesn't know how to refine true human emperor pills, so they're relying on saint pills, which have a reduced effect on emperors and act slowly. They must have been working on this for a long time, but the results were too slow. As they can't fully control these beasts yet, it means they're still in the testing phase. I suspect they don't intend to use these beasts against the Academy, but rather the Dragon Domain. The Dragon Domain? Bai Shirshir exclaimed. That makes sense. This place is closest to the Dragon Domain. They could have driven these demonic beasts into a frenzy with medicinal pills, and their closest target would be the Dragon Domain. Hearing that, the Dragon Domain's experts turned pale. If that had happened, they wouldn't have been able to withstand the assault of so many powerful demonic beasts. After handing over these corpses, the Dragonblood Legion set out again. This time, Long Chen instructed Guoran and the others to let the Dragon Race disciples handle the fights. The Dragonblood warriors had gotten enough training for now, and it was time for the Dragon Race to gain real battle experience. Turning them into experts overnight wasn't possible, but the Dragonblood warriors could at least teach them the basics of warfare. They were family after all, with dragon blood running in their veins. Guoran immediately understood and told Long Chen to leave it to him. As the others left, Long Chen got to work himself. He began consuming nirvanic charge pills. While they're busy hunting, I'll get closer to the Saint Realm. No matter what, I'm going to get there first. An explosive sound rang out in Long Chen's body as his aura suddenly burst to a new level, and his bloodline power surged. The void around him twisted violently, causing the entire 10,000 dragon nest to shake under the force of his energy. Countless dragon runes flashed in response to it. To thank Long Chen, the white dragon race had given him their strongest 10,000 dragon nest to use, which functioned as a spirit-gathering formation. Additionally, 360 human emperor heroic spirits guarded the nest, making it an extraordinary location infused with the blessings of the laws and Daos of the world. Cultivating here was extremely efficient. As Long Chen's aura erupted, the dragon runes of the 10,000 dragon nest continued to flash, and sacred energy flowed around him, helping him quickly acclimate to his new power. The Endless Desolation's laws enhance cultivation speed, and with the white dragon race's 10,000 dragon nest, my cultivation speed is pushed to the limit, Long Chen muttered, excitement filling him as he sensed the changes in his aura. In just 3 days, Long Chen had advanced to the 7th heaven stage of the Eternal Realm. This breakthrough caused his aura to grow explosively. In a cultivator, Qi was the most fundamental force, and when merged with blood, it became blood Qi. These two energies complemented each other. As someone's Qi grew stronger, so did their physical body. The Nirvanic charge pill's energy was nourishing the 8th star, with some leftover energy slowly raising his cultivation base. Although each individual pill only provided a limited amount of energy, Long Chen consumed them in large quantities, speeding up his cultivation dramatically. Despite his rapid rise in strength, thanks to the sacred energy of the 10,000 dragon nest, his aura remained stable. During this time, the Earth Cauldron and Huolinger had refined a mountain of pills for him. All he had to do was eat them. The 8th heaven stage, the 9th heaven stage, the 10th heaven stage, the 11th heaven stage. Long Chen had forcibly raised his realm all the way to the 12th heaven stage in a month. However, he eventually stopped. One reason was that he had run out of Nirvanic charge pills, but more importantly, he sensed that his aura was starting to become superficial and harder to control. Despite the increase in power, there was no point if he couldn't fully master it. After his frantic pill consumption, Long Chen summoned the 8 stars behind him, and they blazed like suns. Countless tiny stars flew out of the starry sea in his dantian and circled around the 8 large stars. It seemed that the 8 stars drew them out and manifested them outside his body. Could it be that the 8-star battle armor will only be complete once all my stars gravitate toward the 8 large stars? Long Chen wondered, looking from the starry sea in his dantian to the tiny stars around his 8 stars. At first, the power of the 8 stars had been rising, but now they already settled down. Long Chen couldn't tell whether the stars' power was rising due to the energy he poured into them or because of the smaller stars. Well, it doesn't matter. I can only wait until all the stars in my starry sea are drawn out, he thought. Although many stars had been drawn out of his dantian in terms of overall numbers, they were less than 1%. I'll probably already be a heaven saint by the time the 8-star battle armor is complete, Long Chen mused. Long Chen was at the peak of the Eternal Realm, on the verge of reaching the Saint Realm. Based on his calculations, he would have to wait until he had become a heaven saint before the 8 stars reached completion. Long Chen emerged from his seclusion, expecting to be the only one to reach the Great Circle. To his surprise, everyone had reached a similar realm. Wow, boss! You've reached the peak of the Eternal Realm. Guoran and the others looked at Long Chen oddly, surprised that his realm was the same as theirs. Normally, Long Chen's cultivation speed was outrageously slow, and they often had to wait for him to undergo tribulations together. Hearing Guoran's words, Long Chen almost passed out. He had been consuming Nirvanic charge pills like crazy, to the point of nearly vomiting, yet he had only managed to keep pace with them. Hiding his frustration, Long Chen solemnly said, I didn't spend much time cultivating during this period. I've been focusing on comprehending the Nirvana scripture. I knew it. If Boss had focused on cultivating, he would have long since advanced to the Saint Realm. Guoran exclaimed, We've been busy hunting and working on equipment. There's not much prey left in the area, so Xia-chan and I have been dedicating more time to that. Long Chen almost spat blood at the thought. To be hunting, crafting equipment, and still reaching the peak of the eternal realm. Guoran was showing off in a way that hurt Long Chen the most. Boss, our cultivation bases are starting to grow rapidly. It's a bit frightening. I'm worried that if the life forms of the endless desolation receive this kind of treatment all the time, what kind of level have they reached? Guoran said with concern. Long Chen nodded. Guoran had a point. There was danger lurking in their rapid progress. The laws inside the endless desolation were different from the outside world. Their cultivation speed was so fast that it was starting to feel unsettling. We even explored outside the endless desolation recently, Guoran added. But once we left, the aura and laws of the heavenly Daos outside felt so restrictive. It was hard to breathe. I don't think we can go back. Long Chen remarked. The laws are completely different. Unless the world changes, we'll be suppressed if we leave. That's why Gold Rhino couldn't recover outside the endless desolation. But we shouldn't focus on that right now. Summon everyone. We're moving out. Hearing Long Chen's command, Guoran instantly grew excited and started issuing orders to gather the entire dragon race. As a result, all the disciples of the dragon domain were stunned when they saw their race leaders. The dragon race leaders had shed their human forms, transforming into immense dragons that filled the sky. Their immense blood chi and emperor might radiated outward, leaving everyone stunned. They had finally advanced to the Tuvain Emperor realm, allowing them to break free from the limitations of human form and return to their true dragon forms. The human emperor realm, named after the human race, symbolized the pride of humanity. However, for other races it was a crippling roadblock. Many heavenly geniuses with grand aspirations had seen their dreams crushed by this barrier. For those with incredibly powerful physical bodies, being forced to remain in human form without being able to fully wield their might was a tormenting limitation. But now, with the dragon race leaders breaking through to the Tuvain Emperor realm, they had shattered that limitation. Their power surged, increasing by dozens, perhaps even 100 times. This realm was the greatest shackle for non-human races. But once surpassed, their suppressed power would erupt like a volcano. Everyone had been stunned by Gold Rhino's terrifying aura at first, but when these race leaders showed their true forms, Gold Rhino looked insignificant in comparison. Hundreds of giant dragons flew in the sky, emitting terrifying pressures. Let alone the dragon race's disciples, even Long Chen, who had personally done this, was extremely shocked. He was witnessing the full terrifying potential that the dragon race should have always possessed. The race leaders were ecstatic, as they had long given up hope of regaining their true forms in this lifetime. But Long Chen had restored that dream for them. Their gratitude was beyond words. If Long Chen asked them to die for him, they would gladly comply. Gold Rhino, we are heading toward the depths of the endless desolation. Thank you for accompanying us this far. If fate allows, we will meet again. Here, take this barrier-breaking pill. When you reach the threshold of the next realm, it will give you a 50% chance of advancing, said Long Chen, handing Gold Rhino the pill. Gold Rhino had been watching over the Dragonblood Legion all this time, but now that they were leaving, it had to say goodbye. As the endless desolation was enormous and filled with dangers, this farewell meant they would probably never meet again. Gold Rhino was sad about this parting. In truth, it also wanted to fight alongside Long Chen, but it knew that with its power, it could only accompany Long Chen for a short part of his journey. It had no choice but to say goodbye. As Gold Rhino departed, the 10,000 dragon nests began to move. Whether it was the Dragonblood warriors, the dragon race disciples, or even the race leaders, their blood was boiling with excitement. The race leaders, in particular, felt like they had returned to their youth, their hearts filled with the fiery spirit of their younger days. The Red Dragon race's 10,000 dragon nests took the lead, with dozens of others following, surrounding the White Dragon race's nest, which carried the Dragonblood Legion and the dragon race's heavenly geniuses. The dragon race elders knew that their future depended on the Dragonblood Legion and these young disciples. They would protect the youngsters at all costs. As the 10,000 dragon nests soared through the sky, Under the guidance of the race leaders, they activated their runes, unleashing pressure unlike any before. These ancient 10,000 dragon nests had once been the race's most formidable weapons, but they had been dormant due to a lack of capable wielders. Now, with the race leaders having ascended to the Two-Vein Emperor realm and returned to their original forms, they could fully awaken the power of these nests. As the 10,000 dragon nests advanced, they heard angry roars from below, but those roars quickly turned to silence as large figures retreated. Initially, the beasts had roared as a warning upon sensing the disturbance, but once they felt the overwhelming aura of the dragon race, they fled in fear. Even Two-Vein Emperor demonic beasts ran for their lives. The dragon race's experts, especially the race leaders, were thrilled to see such a display of dominance. They were finally venting years of pent-up frustration. There are so many demonic beasts. We should have snuck up on them and killed a few, Bai Shaola exclaimed in regret, watching the fleeing beasts. Two-Vein Emperor demonic beasts are no longer any challenge to us. Their emperor pressure barely affects us now. We need to seek out stronger foes, said Little Nine, perched on Bai Shaola's shoulder. Gu Yang nodded. After all the hunting we've done, we've gotten used to their emperor pressure. The dragon race's disciples have improved rapidly as well. They are now capable of joining forces to hunt Two-Vein Emperors. They've overcome their primal fear, but they still lack combat experience and sharp battle instincts. They get flustered when something unexpected happens. Gu Yang and the others were reporting to Long Chun, as he had tasked them to guide these heavenly geniuses in training. These disciples were originally very happy with Gu Yang's praise, but they grew embarrassed at the end. Long Chun said, "Combat experience is something that must be gained gradually by walking the line between life and death. You can't rush it. The fact that you've conquered your fear in such a short time is already very impressive." "Really?" asked a female disciple of the dragon race timidly. Long Chen smiled. Of course. Encouraged by his words, the disciples felt a surge of confidence. They idolized the Dragonblood Legion, seeing every warrior as incredibly powerful. Even the Legion's healers could hold their own against Two-Vein Emperors. What amazed them most was the calm confidence each Dragonblood warrior exuded, no matter how dangerous the situation was. As for the Dragonblood warriors, Long Chen's praise was the highest honor they could receive. "Wait, hasn't it gotten unusually quiet?" Guoran remarked, noticing the sudden absence of fleeing demonic beasts. Suddenly, a deafening sound echoed ahead, and countless dark figures surged toward them. "It's devil creatures!" the dragon race disciples cried out in shock. Long Chun narrowed his eyes, gazing at the approaching horde. "It seems that to enter the endless desolation, we must first pass through a sea of devil creatures. Brothers, it's time to get to work." As the 10,000 dragon nests flew across the barren land, the earth beneath them suddenly exploded. Out of the ground emerged monstrous creatures with stone-like patterns on their skin and two horns protruding from their heads. These four-legged beasts, with goat-like heads and bone spikes extending from their elbows, glinted menacingly as they flooded out. In moments, the land was covered with these creatures as far as the eye could see. "Boss, something's up. Doesn't this seem like they've set up a trap for us? They even waited for us to enter deep into their territory before coming out," said Guoran, frowning. It wasn't just Guoran who noticed something amiss. The others felt it too. When they first arrived, these devil creatures were not moving, hiding their auras. But now, Long Chun and the others were completely surrounded. They had clearly been ambushed. The trap was meant to prevent them from escaping. Though the Dragonblood Legion had faced devil creatures before, none, besides Long Chun, had encountered them acting with such coordination. Suddenly, the air was filled with deafening roars as the devil creatures surged toward them like a vast net, enclosing them. "That roar belongs to a Two-Vein Emperor. It must be giving orders," said Guoran. "It doesn't matter. These creatures are probably here to guard the endless desolation. Since we need to enter, we'll have to break through. Now's not the time for hesitation. It's time to show our strength. Let's see if the devil creatures here are any stronger than the ones from the outside world." Long Chen declared, charging forward. The Dragonblood Legion, along with the dragon race's heavenly geniuses, immediately followed suit. Race leaders, hold the line. Everyone else, slaughter these devils. This is our last battle before entering the endless desolation. We need to do it right, Long Chen shouted. The moment Long Chen reached the wave of devil creatures, a 3-meter devil creature attacked him. Surprisingly, this one was an emperor-level creature. Long Chen hadn't expected such brainless creatures to reach the emperor realm. With a swift motion, Long Chen gathered astral energy in his hand and slammed his palm into the creature. It shattered like stone, with barely any blood spilling out. This was Long Chen's first time encountering a devil creature with such a body. Even though he easily killed it, the impact almost left his hand numb. The creature's body was as tough as rock. Meanwhile, the Dragonblood warriors clashed with the creatures as well. Gu Yong stabbed an emperor devil creature with his spear, but the impact split the webbing between his forefinger and thumb, causing him to bleed. What the hell are these things? Gu Yong cried out in shock. He had never seen such a bizarre devil creature before. Our weapons are taking too much damage. They can't handle these things? A dragon disciple shouted after noticing his saber had become dull after killing only a few creatures. The Dragonblood warriors' weapons were still incomplete, so they used their fists instead. These things aren't flesh and blood. We're at a serious disadvantage here. Another disciple of the dragon race cried out. Shut your mouth. Long Wuyong snapped at that disciple. Who cares about that? Are you going to run just because you're at a disadvantage? Boss Guyong already said that to become an expert, you must overcome terrible circumstances. The harder it feels, the closer we are to a breakthrough. Focus and fight. Don't even think about getting help from our race leaders. Were those brave words we spoke when we left the dragon domain just empty talk? Brothers, don't you want to become like the Dragonblood warriors? Yes! The dragon disciples roared in response, their voices shaking the heavens. After being with the Dragonblood warriors for a while, these disciples already viewed them as their idols. They had learned that the Dragonblood Legion had come from the mortal world, rising from hardship and slaughter to become powerful. Hence, the dragon disciples swore to follow in their footsteps. They definitely wouldn't continue living worthlessly. Kill! With Long Wuyong at the front, the dragon disciples charged. His leadership had earned him their trust, and they followed without hesitation. Dragonblood Legion, focus on the emperor-level creatures. Leave the rest to the dragon disciples. Long Chun commanded. With that, he stamped on the air and shot forward like lightning, sensing a powerful presence ahead. Countless devil creatures swarmed Long Chun, but his fists danced, tearing open a bloody path for himself. After blasting through their blockade, Long Chun saw a group of lifeforms and smiled slightly. He recognized them, the Earth Devils. Though their appearance differed from those in the heavenly flame devil domain, their spiritual fluctuations were almost identical. When Long Chun barged through the sea of devil creatures, the Earth Devils instantly lined up to block his path. Thousands of them, all two-vein emperors, stood ready. They were a varied group, some with azure faces and fangs, others with 3 eyes, and even some with 2 heads. Leading them was a massive 3-meter-tall figure with 2 wings and an iron-like build. Wielding a giant trident, the Earth Devil leader stared coldly at Long Chun. Humans, your fate is sealed. Surrender, and your death will be less painful, the Earth Devil leader declared. Same old line. Let's see if the two-vein emperors of the endless desolation are any stronger than the ones outside. Long Chun sneered, striding forward without fear. Ignorant human. You are courting death. Seeing Long Chun look down on them, the Earth Devils, especially the group of two-vein emperors, were visibly angry. The muscular, winged Earth Devil said, "This place is the graveyard of your human race. Countless fools like you have died here over the years, yet you still don't understand even with death at hand." Long Chun chuckled. "I was right. You're guarding this place to stop anyone from entering the endless desolation. But after today, you won't need to." "Why is that?" asked the Earth Devil leader. not comprehending Long Chen's meaning. "Because you're all going to die here today?" Long Chen declared calmly as he continued to walk forward. "What arrogance! I can't take it any longer. Die!" One of the Earth Devils finally lost his patience and charged toward Long Chen, his iron claw-like palm striking with incredible speed. This Earth Devil had black skin, tree branch-like limbs, and a long tail. Devil Chi erupted from him as his hands stretched out toward Long Chen, twisting the space around him. This pressure was even more intense than what Gold Rhino had produced. Long Chen's fighting spirit blazed. His cultivation base had advanced rapidly, and the 8-star battle armor had also evolved. Hence, he needed a worthy opponent to test this newfound strength. Without hesitation, an 8-colored divine ring appeared behind him, and stars lit up on his hand as he unleashed his own attack. Palm met claw, unleashing a wave of violent energy that shook the surroundings. Yet neither Long Chen nor the Earth Devil moved a muscle. The two were perfectly evenly matched, and the sheer force of their clash caused heaven and earth to tremble. As expected, the Qi is the foundation. Qi is what circulates my power and blood. When my root Qi is strong enough, it can even ignite my starry sea. If it weren't for this attack, I wouldn't have even realized how important the root Qi was. In his last exchange, Long Chen could sense the clump of root Qi in his dantian sending an unending stream of energy to his palm. The root Qi was something that only appeared after Long Chen had taken his spirit root back from Long Outyin. Although his spirit root had seemed damaged, with each breakthrough, it had gradually recovered. This root Qi was nourished by his improved power and finally started to show its might. The root Qi functioned like a flame seed, igniting the violet Qi in his starry sea and causing his astral energy to surge. Without even summoning his 8-star battle armor, Long Chen could now meet the strike of a two-vein emperor head-on. The Earth Devil's expression twisted as he poured more energy into his attack, trying to overwhelm Long Chen. But Long Chen's hand felt as vast as the cosmos itself, responding with equal force to everything the Earth Devil threw at him. Meanwhile, Long Chen was in no rush to counterattack. He was borrowing the power of this Earth Devil to get a better understanding of his root Qi. Amongst his spirit root, spirit blood, and spirit bone, his spirit root was the most mysterious. Even though he had gone from the mortal world to the immortal world and read many texts, he still didn't have a complete understanding of what root Qi was. It was like a clump of fire, but it also represented a person's talent. There were many kinds of spirit roots, and in the mortal world, there existed many tests that could appraise a person's talent through the spirit root. When Long Chen first got into the immortal world, the spirit root also seemed to be an important marker of how talented someone was. But after reaching the immortal king realm, people stopped caring about the spirit root, and many seemed to feel that it wasn't important. That was because they were unable to sense any meaning behind its existence. However, Long Chen found that his spirit root was gradually awakening, giving him a novel feeling. It made the circulation of his astral energy smooth, lightening the burden on his body and enhancing his output of power. This tiny clump of root Qi was far more miraculous than he had anticipated. Boom! Finally, a resounding explosion echoed, and the Earth Devil let out a grunt as he was blasted back by Long Chen's palm. The surrounding Earth Devils were shocked. They had encountered countless human cultivators over the years and were familiar with their power levels. Yet, this human, who was only at the eternal level, had managed to force back a two-vein emperor with sheer strength. Long Chen's opponent was shocked and incensed. Seeing the contemptuous gaze of his comrades, he seethed with fury. Boom! With a roar, 2 devil runes appeared on his forehead, and his aura surged tenfold. Long Chen jumped when he saw this, but then, the Earth Cauldron's voice rang out in his mind. It's nothing to be surprised about. This is the mark of a true two-vein emperor. While a saint's heaven veins manifest outside the body, an emperor's emperor veins manifest inside. Once mastered, they surface on the skin. The laws outside the endless desolation limit most emperors from showing their veins. But in this land, they can reveal their true might. You're fighting the standard power of a two-vein emperor from the endless desolation. When Long Chun heard this, his blood boiled with excitement. He had finally found an opponent who could match the full extent of his power. Foolish human. Today I'll completely crush you. Take out your weapon and show me your full power, roared that earth devil, his voice rumbling like thunder as his emperor might shook the world. Even Gold Rhino in peak form would pale in comparison to the sheer power radiating from the enraged earth devil. Long Chun sneered, "Idiot, if I take out my weapon, you won't stand a chance. Now stop talking and come at me. Die." Furious that Long Chun still hadn't drawn a weapon or summoned his manifestation, the earth devil shot toward him, launching a punch filled with violent emperor power. Long Chun took a deep breath. Previously, only his palm was covered in starlight, but suddenly, light flared all over his body. It was like he was now draped in a starry sky battle robe. With this new battle robe, Long Chun felt a surge of heat in his dantian, and his clump of root chi suddenly expanded. The violet chi in his starry sea boiled, and an immense amount of astral energy flowed through his veins. Even as the earth devil unleashed his full power attack, Long Chun remained calm. He raised his palm once more, his movements steady just like before. "You arrogant fool! Die!" roared the earth devil, enraged by Long Chen's indifference. His fist smashed into Long Chen's palm. The impact caused an explosion of light as the two forces collided. Yet, Long Chun stood unmoved, his hair merely fluttering in the resulting breeze. He had blocked the full strength of a two-vein emperor with ease. What? The surrounding earth devils were all shocked, unable to believe what they had just witnessed. Despite pouring everything into his attack, the earth devil failed to even scratch Long Chun. He was both shocked and furious, feeling a crushing sense of helplessness. The earth devil roared in frustration as the two devil runes on his forehead pulsed, pushing his power to its absolute limit. Long Chun didn't even notice the earth devil's furious appearance. His focus was entirely on the starry sky battle robe that had mysteriously manifested. This robe was unlike anything he had ever seen. His body was now wrapped in astral energy, but instead of the usual illusory aura, it felt like a real, tangible cloth, with substance and weight. The effect was startling, even to him. Sensing it carefully, Long Chun found that this starry sky battle robe was similar to the dragon blood battle armor. His astral energy was pouring through every inch of his body, and he could freely control it. "Damn, boss! You look cool!" exclaimed Guoran in awe. As Long Chun charged ahead, leaving the battle to the dragon blood warriors, they swiftly began cutting down the human emperors. Though the army of devil creatures seemed endless, the human emperors were not that many. Despite their tough bodies, the dragon blood warriors quickly identified their fatal weak point: their butt. No one knew which pervert discovered it first, but things became much easier after they did. One warrior would distract the target, while another would exploit this vulnerability to deliver a lethal blow. With Guoran, Xiachun, Yu Zifeng by Shirshir, and the others having cleaned up the human emperors, the rest of the devil creatures weren't able to threaten anyone, so the dragon blood warriors rushed over. As they finished cleaning up, they saw Long Chun standing amidst the chaos, withstanding a two-vein emperor's full power attack as if it were nothing. His glowing starry sky battle robe made him look like a deity, effortlessly holding back the enraged earth devil. With the furious earth devil and his contorted face as a contrast, he appeared even more handsome. Bai Shirshir felt her heart stir as she watched Long Chun. His appearance was as striking as the first time she had seen him, completely unrivaled in battle, exuding an irresistible charm. Who could resist his appearance? He seemed completely unrivaled in this state. In this world where the weak were prey to the strong, power exuded the greatest charm. Man or woman, it didn't matter. No one could resist this kind of charm. Furthermore, Long Chen's starry sky battle robe was truly dashing. Seeing it, Guoran was particularly moved. He wanted to make a set of battle robes like this for himself. If the dragon blood battle armor represented a wild domineeringness, then the starry sky battle robe added a layer of grace and wonder on top of it. Even Yu Zifeng, who had never cared about these things, couldn't help being moved by the appearance of the starry sky battle robe. However, Long Chun wasn't thinking about appearances. His attention was on the clump of fire in his dantian. It was the size of a fist, giving off light fluctuations. These subtle waves, while barely noticeable, resonated with the stars, causing his starry sky battle robe to ripple like the tide. At that moment, Long Chun felt an indescribable connection to the world around him. The flow of the grand Tao was within him, and everything felt both mystical and seamless. At this moment, Bai Shaola shouted, "Boss, watch out!" The Earth Devil had taken advantage of the distraction to reach out toward Long Chen's stomach. His sharp claws stabbed forward, only to be met by the starry sky battle robe. In an instant, the Earth Devil's fingernails shattered, and his hand burst into blood. The robe remained unharmed, gently fluttering as if nothing had happened. Both friend and foe were left speechless. A two-vein emperor's attack had not only failed but had injured the attacker. Long Chen's defense was beyond belief. Long Chun noticed that when the Earth Devil's fingernails made contact with the cloth, the root chi in his dantian suddenly contracted. Then the elder's nails were shattered. What? A self-defense mechanism? Long Chun thought, genuinely surprised. In truth, Long Chun could have blocked or dodged the Earth Devil's attack, but he wanted to see what would happen. How would the starry sky battle robe react? However, he hadn't expected such an automatic defense. Furthermore, its defensive power was shockingly powerful. Everything's changed, Long Chun mused. Since advancing to the eternal realm, my spirit root has awakened. Even the starry sky battle robe has appeared. It's practically unrivaled. Long Chun was filled with excitement at the discovery. Die! The Earth Devil, now consumed by rage, drew a bone blade infused with devil chi. He swung it toward Long Chen's neck with a savage roar. The blade screamed through the air, its edge sharp enough to tear through the void itself. But Long Chen didn't dodge. Instead, he tilted his head slightly, ensuring that the blade would strike him directly on the neck. The Earth Devil was stunned by Long Chen's brazen actions. Guoran and the other Dragonblood warriors, too, cried out in alarm. What? Boom! The bone blade slammed into Long Chen's neck with a thunderous impact, and the resulting astral winds nearly sliced Guoran and the others' faces. However, they paid no attention to the danger. Their eyes were glued to Long Chun, who stood unmoving with the bone blade pressed against his neck. Blood slowly dripped down, but it wasn't Long Chen's. It belonged to the Earth Devil. Despite the blow to his neck, Long Chun hadn't flinched. Instead, it was the Earth Devil whose hand was bleeding from the impact. The sound of his blood dripping to the ground was very light, but everyone heard it clearly. That was because the battlefield had fallen into an eerie silence. Everyone was utterly stunned by what they had just witnessed. That's too monstrous. Guoran's jaw dropped, completely dumbfounded. Even Guoran, who was accustomed to Long Chen's overwhelming strength, couldn't believe what he was seeing. A two-vein emperor wielding an emperor divine weapon had unleashed a full-power attack, yet Long Chun had withstood it with his neck. The sheer absurdity of his defense left them speechless. The starry sky battle robe, muttered Long Chun. Long Chun found that the strength of the starry sky battle robe was tied to his spirit root. The moment he was in danger, it would automatically appear. While it looked like the attack had landed on Long Chen's neck, it had actually struck the collar of his starry sky battle robe. As the blade approached, he felt the flame of his spirit root flare within his dantian, spreading its energy throughout the starry sea in his body. The stars on the battle robe flashed in response, concentrating their power at the point of impact and blocking the attack. However, Long Chun could sense his spirit root slightly weakened after the effort. This meant that the robe's defensive power wasn't limitless. If multiple attacks of this caliber were aimed at different areas of Long Chen's body, the robe's defense would be spread thin and weaken, eventually crumbling. Yet, despite this limitation, Long Chun was overjoyed. His spirit root had only just awakened, and its potential was immense. For it to already provide such a powerful defense meant its future growth would be boundless. Suddenly, an even more shocking sight unfolded. The bone blade that had struck Long Chen's neck began to crack, and soon, it shattered, falling to the ground in pieces. The Earth Devil was now filled with terror. His body quivered, and in a panic he turned to flee. However, he was too late. Long Chen summoned Evil Moon and bisected him in one clean stroke. A two-vein emperor's physical body was nothing in front of Evil Moon's sharpness, crumbling like a soft cabbage before its blade. "How dare you use me on this trash?" raged Evil Moon. Hearing this, Long Chen almost spat out blood. He angrily said, "Weren't you the one who said to take you out when fighting?" Evil Moon had insisted for Long Chen to summon it, so it could absorb the blood-soul energy of powerful enemies. However, now it seemed to be acting up. The truth was, Long Chen could have killed this Earth Devil without Evil Moon, but he had summoned it because of its request. "I said I wanted to be present, not that I needed to do the dirty work myself. Just carry me on your back. Are you trying to humiliate me by making me kill some small fries?" Evil Moon complained, sounding almost indignant. "You?" Long Chen was at a loss for words, nearly coughing up blood. Ever since their encounter with the Dragon Sovereign, Evil Moon seemed to have developed a competitive streak, always trying to prove its superiority, especially over the Earth Cauldron and even the Dragon Sovereign. "Attack him together!" At this moment, the Earth Devils finally recovered their wits. Seeing their comrades slain so easily, they realized that they were in deep shit. After summoning their Emperor Vein runes, they unleashed their full power as they flooded toward Long Chen. "Kill!" Long Chen roared, charging into battle with Evil Moon blazing in his hand. Guoran, Xiachun by Shirshir, Yuzifeng by Shaola, and the others rushed forward as well, clashing with the Earth Devils. Each time Evil Moon flashed, the Emperor Divine weapons wielded by the Earth Devils broke into pieces. The sharpness shocked even Long Chen. Boom! The leader of the Earth Devils refused to believe this and clashed against Long Chen with his trident. As a result, 2 of the prongs of this trident were directly sliced off by Evil Moon. With only 1 prong left, the trident looked extremely pitiful. "When did you get this strong?" asked Long Chen, fully shocked by Evil Moon's sharpness. "TCH, if I didn't get stronger, certain people would start looking down on me. This is only my first state. Once I recover to my peak, I'll cut off Lord Brahma's head so that you can use it as a chamber pot," declared Evil Moon proudly. Half of the statement was meant for Long Chen, but the other half was clearly a jab at the Earth Cauldron. Evil Moon's rivalry with the Earth Cauldron had been intensifying. Hearing Evil Moon talking like a resentful shrew, Long Chen suppressed a laugh. When did this proud weapon become so petty? "Boss, the Legion seems to be in some trouble. You should go help them," shouted Guoran. Without thinking about it, Long Chen directly charged over, only to realize midway that his brothers were trying to get him away from their battlefield. They had seen how sharp Evil Moon was and wanted to fight the Earth Devils themselves. However, that was actually reasonable. With Evil Moon in hand, the 2 Vein Emperors were no match for Long Chen. He felt that it was better to let his comrades gain experience against such opponents. After that, Long Chen sheathed Evil Moon on his back and stepped aside, watching over the battlefield from a distance. With his watchful eye on them, Guoran and the others fought freely. They pushed themselves to the limit against the powerful Earth Devils. While the Earth Devils were formidable, with Yuzifeng leading the charge, everything remained under control. 2 hours later, the final 2 Vein Emperor fell. With the Earth Devils defeated, the remaining devil creatures were swiftly wiped out, bringing the battle to an end. As they cleaned the battlefield, Long Chen noticed that the golden lotus in his primal chaos space had grown even brighter. Its divine light shone on him, filling him with a sense of warmth and clarity. It was like a guiding beacon in the dark, ensuring he would never lose his way. Just as Long Chen and his companions were about to rest, the ground rumbled ominously. Slowly, the earth split open, and a massive altar started to emerge. When Long Chen saw it, his heart skipped a beat. The earth trembled, and mountains crumbled as an imposing altar emerged from beneath the ground. It emanated a supreme emperor's might, shaking the entire world. Long Chen's heart shook when he saw this altar. Its aura was extremely similar to the one he had encountered in the heavenly flame devil domain. However, this altar felt even more terrifying. The 4 skulls at its corners were particularly horrifying, their very presence seeming to tear at the soul of anyone who looked at them. "There's something even more terrifying hiding here," exclaimed Guoran, his voice filled with shock. At the altar center sat a massive egg. Blood veins crisscrossed its surface, and they could see the blood within slowly pulsing, as if something inside was greedily absorbing it. Only then did everyone realize the blood that had previously covered the land was now gone, completely absorbed by the altar. Perhaps that was why the altar had emerged from the earth. "It's another devil fetus. I already got rid of one in the heavenly flame devil domain, and now there's another one here," said Long Chen, his tone grim. "It's a pity. It has fully matured. There's no more grand mist primal elixir in it anymore," sighed the earth cauldron. Last time, the earth cauldron, evil moon, and the demon moon cauldron had greatly benefited from splitting the grand mist primal elixir, which had helped them grow immensely. Without it, evil moon wouldn't have even unlocked its first state. As the altar continued to rumble, the dragon race's disciples stared in shock. "Should we attack it before whatever monster inside breaks its seal?" asked Long Wuyang. Shaking his head, Long Chen replied, "It's already awake. Attacking it now won't stop it. The altar has absorbed all the blood of the devil creatures, so any attack on it would be an attack on their collective bloodline power. No one could withstand that." "Then, shouldn't we run before it comes out?" asked one disciple. As soon as he said this, the rest of the dragon experts glared at him, causing him to shut his mouth. Running isn't necessarily wrong. If you encounter an opponent you truly can't beat, running to save your life is just being smart, not cowardly. But there's a huge difference between that and running just because you're afraid. "You must be clear on how to differentiate between these two," answered Long Chen. The dragon race's disciples nodded, absorbing Long Chen's words. Against an opponent that they couldn't possibly beat, running wasn't anything wrong. However, if they still had a chance to win but just gave up because of fear, they would lose their chance to become stronger. Just then, the altar began to crack. The 4 skulls trembled as the egg absorbed their energy. One by one, the skulls exploded, their essence fully consumed. The egg pulsed a few times and then went still. "Did it fail to hatch?" Guoran asked, bewildered. Just as Guoran said this, a sharp claw broke through the egg, and a large figure tore its way out. The sight of the creature left everyone startled. It was a humanoid figure covered in black scales, with long black hair and a powerful frame. As soon as it appeared, a terrifying devilish pressure swept over the battlefield like a physical force, causing the dragon disciples to instinctively retreat, their bodies responding to the overwhelming aura. This creature resembled a human, but its eyes were strange, with black whirlpools swirling in its pupils. It was as if those whirlpools could suck in anything in this world, even souls. "Human?" the creature asked in a confused voice as it gazed at Long Chen. Its eyes showed a trace of bewilderment, as if it wasn't sure where it was. "Child, you're finally awake. Do you not recognize me? Come, call me Daddy," Guoran suddenly shouted. He had a brazen thought upon seeing the life form being so confused like a newborn hatchling. "Daddy?" The creature looked at Guoran warily, searching its fragmented memories. "That's right. I'm your daddy. Come. Daddy will play with you." Guoran smiled kindly, beckoning to that life form. Having just hatched, the life form was in a muddled state. Guoran, in his ever-creative way, hoped to trick the creature into becoming his servant to gain a powerful ally. Then he would have a powerful fighter and, most importantly, they'd be able to learn more about it. Long Chen couldn't help but roll his eyes at Guoran's antics. He knew this creature's spiritual fluctuations were far too advanced for such a trick to work. "Child, don't be scared. Come to Daddy. Let Daddy rub your head," said Guoran, extending his hand toward the creature. Suddenly, the creature's eyes flickered, and its face twisted into a savage snarl. "You damn human! How dare you blaspheme the heaven devil race?" The whirlpools in its eyes whirled violently, and the space around Guoran began to collapse, pulling him in. Guoran! Everyone shouted in alarm. But before Guoran could be sucked in, Shaola swiftly activated his 3 flower pupils, summoning a flower diagram that blocked the vortex. Boom! The 2 energies collided, sending Guoran flying. He hit the ground hard, pale and shaken. The creature's power was far beyond what any of them had anticipated. That was close. If Shaola hadn't acted quickly, I might have been a goner, muttered Guoran, wiping sweat from his brow. The creature roared, "You lowly humans dare mock the great heaven devil race. Prepare to die." Long Chun narrowed his eyes, his expression cold. "A heaven devil, huh? I'd like to see where you get the nerve to speak so boldly." The creature turned its gaze to Long Chun, its pupils contracting slightly. Then a sinister smile spread across its face. "I didn't expect to find such a high-quality sacrifice as soon as I awoke. Your blood will ignite my heaven devil flame." In the next instant, the creature lunged forward, leaving behind countless afterimages as it shot straight for Long Chun. What speed! When the heaven devil attacked, Yu Zifeng and the others were shocked. With one step, it seemed to break the limitations of space and time, and its fist reached Long Chun with inconceivable speed. What was even more terrifying was that there were no spatial fluctuations or even wind accompanying the attack. The creature's control over its strength had clearly reached an extraordinary level. In response, Long Chen's divine ring appeared behind him, as did the starry sky battle robe. Stars flowed on top of his hand as he raised it, ready to block. Although the heaven devil's speed was shocking, Long Chun was able to sense the trajectory of the attack and intercept it with precision. Boom! The moment Long Chen's palm met the heaven devil's fist, an explosive sound rang out. The silent fist suddenly erupted with boundless power, like a volcano erupting. The impact shook the ground and even suppressed the laws of heaven and earth. Fragments of space and time shattered and flew around, stunning everyone who witnessed it. No one had expected the heaven devil, who had been sealed for countless years, to have such immense power and shocking control. Everyone in the Dragonblood Legion was an expert, so they instantly saw that its control was far more troublesome than its brute power. After all, the Dragonblood warriors had often defeated stronger opponents by leveraging their own mastery of power. As for this heaven devil, it didn't just possess a terrifying emperor might, but also near-perfect control over its power, which showed them that it was a true expert. Long Chun was pushed back by its immense power, and the void behind him continuously exploded. Everyone was shocked by that. After all, Long Chun had easily withstood the full power attack of the Earth Devils, but he was pushed back by the Heaven Devil's might, his feet dragging through the air as the ground beneath him exploded in a cascade of dust and rubble. Finally, Long Chun stabilized himself. A blazing fighting spirit appeared in Long Chen's eyes. He was excited to be fighting a true expert. The astral light of the starry sky battle robe glowed brighter, and the vast astral energy within him surged. Now, despite the Heaven Devil's continued pressure, Long Chun was immovable. "Did you say sacrifice? What do you mean by igniting your Heaven Devil flame?" asked Long Chun, blocking its fist with one hand. The Heaven Devil looked at Long Chun with surprise, but its eyes soon lit up with a fierce gleam. It smiled sinisterly. "I was a peerless genius of my race and was sealed in the devil fetus at the half-step human emperor realm. Using the altar's power, I seized the karmic luck of heaven and earth and condensed primal chaos devil chi. I should have managed to ignite the heaven devil flame, which allowed a primal chaos devil body to walk this world once more. But you interrupted my slumber, causing me to lose that chance. However, by devouring your powerful body, I'll get another chance. Ha ha ha. This is the will of the heavens." The Heaven Devil laughed maniacally, revealing his grand ambitions. As a genius of the Heaven Devil race, he had been sealed inside the altar for countless years, waiting for the right moment to ignite the Heaven Devil flame and produce the primal chaos devil body. In the primal chaos era, this was a common constitution among the Heaven Devil race. but over time it became exceedingly rare. The Heaven Devil race had a secret method to build the primal Chaos Devil body, using the altar to absorb energy from heaven and earth. However, this required immense resources, countless years of accumulation, and a great deal of luck. If anything went wrong, all of their efforts could be in vain. The altar in the Heavenly Flame Devil domain had been taken by Long Chun, and now Long Chun encountered a similar one. It seemed that both life forms inside these altars didn't have good luck. After hearing this explanation, Long Chun finally understood the purpose of these altars. It wasn't the Earth Devils who were the masterminds, but the Heaven Devils. The devil fetus Long Chun had killed in the Heavenly Flame Devil domain was also from the Heaven Devil race. In other words, the Earth Devil race was nothing more than their fangs and tools, while the Heaven Devils were the true rulers. Peerless heavenly genius? Aren't you overestimating yourself? Mocked Long Chun, shaking his head. Fool, if it weren't for my supreme talent, do you think I'd be worthy of an entire race pouring all their efforts into creating this altar for me? Sneered the Heaven Devil. An entire race? So the Heaven Devil race is more than just one race, said Long Chun, grasping the important part of his words. But of course, the Heaven Devil race is composed of tens of thousands of races, and we have countless experts. Sooner or later we will command the 9 heavens and 10 lands. When that time comes, you humans will once again be our slaves, just like in the past. The Heaven Devil replied coldly. Try to say that again? Long Chun's expression sank. The Heaven Devil sneered. Does your race not keep any historical records? In the Primal Chaos era, many humans were nothing but slaves raised by the Heaven Devil race. It's a fact your race will never be able to erase. The human race will always be inferior to the Heaven Devil race. Looking down on Long Chun with contempt, the Heaven Devil exuded an air of supremacy, as if he were born to rule. His arrogance was boundless, and he pressed down harder on Long Chun, his fist carrying the weight of his disdain. Long Chun's arm began to shake as if he was losing strength, which only encouraged the Heaven Devil further. Seizing the opportunity, he pressed forward with all his might, certain he had broken Long Chun's defenses. The Heaven Devil grinned as he closed in on Long Chun, but his vision suddenly blurred. Pow! A hand covered in stars smacked him hard across his face.